and scores for Tennessee. In Tennessee land, fans of present and past have been celebrating their 100th year of competing in intercollegiate football. In one of the oldest rivalries in the SEC, the Volunteers host the Kentucky Wildcats. Next on TBS. Live from the banks of the Tennessee River, TBS welcomes you to Knoxville as we continue our 7th consecutive season of SEC football. Today, the 86th battle for the beer barrel as the Kentucky Wildcats meet the Volunteers from Tennessee. Hello, everybody. Along with Tim Foley, this is Bob Neal in Knoxville. It's a beautiful day, 60 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. Temperatures up to about 65, very little breeze today. And for the Tennessee fans, the sun is really shining because they know they're only 2 conference wins away from doing no worse than tying for the SEC championship. And if they tie with Auburn, Tennessee would no doubt get the Sugar Bowl bid because of a probable higher national ranking. So for Tennessee, 2 big games, and their first hurdle will be Kentucky, and they'll throw at Kentucky what they throw at everybody, and that's a high-powered offense averaging over 400 yards a game.
And they are tough to stop, Bob. As you know, it's an offense built around probably the most talented offensive line in the SEC. It's directed by Andy Kelly, who has really hit his stride as a quarterback after an almost flawless performance against Ole Miss. When it comes to throwing the football, it's Alvin Harper, Carl Pickens, the most dynamic wide receiver pair in the SEC, and they're just going to be awfully difficult to stop.
Which brings me to my favorite question for you today. How does Kentucky's defense stop them?
Well, prayers for rain have failed, and it's going to be a difficult assignment. Last week, they blitzed 38 times against Florida, trying to really throw Matthews off stride. It didn't work very well, and they got to be feeling a little bit like the Germans felt after the blitzkrieg. You know, these guys down on defense, but they've got to have to move around and use confusion. That's going to be I think, their primary weapon.
Kentucky's offense has come along this year, and they've really found an excellent running game, particularly in the person of number 5, Al Baker. They can run the ball.
We've seen him grow up. Before they ran into the Florida roadblock, he had rushed for over 100 yards 3 games in a row, and they really had it going on the ground. They're going to have to reestablish that ground game if they hope to stay close to Tennessee.
Now, talking about Tennessee's defense, I would suppose that would be the first thing Tennessee's got to do is stop the Kentucky game.
Right, and Larry Lacewell's done an excellent job coordinating this defense for John Majors. They lead the nation in turnover ratio, plus 17, which is outstanding. But they have been vulnerable to the run, as Ole Miss displayed, and Notre Dame was able to run the football on them, so that could be interesting.
Well, we're going to come back here in just a moment for the kickoff of this ball game at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. But right now, take a look at what they're playing this game for. It's the 86th battle for the beer barrel. That was created by a Kentucky man. Kentucky won it the first year. In recent years, it's been all Tennessee way, and that's what a lot of people think will happen again here today in Knoxville, Tennessee. We'll be back here to Neyland Stadium. 95,000 rabid fans are on hand. But now let's go back to...
The Old Milwaukee Insider Report has been brought to you by Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light, 2 of America's great-tasting beers. It doesn't get any better than this.
There's the pride of the Southland Band performing just outside Neyland Stadium prior to today's ball game. 95,000 people will be here today to look at the Volunteers win what they hope will be 2 in a row and go for a tie, and no worse than a tie, to win the SEC championship, and then, of course, get a probable bid to the Sugar Bowl. A successful year for Tennessee, and one of the men most happy about that's with Craig Sager right now.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. You couldn't ask for a more beautiful day to celebrate 100 years of Volunteers. And with me, Athletic Director Doug Dickey, and the 4th Athletic Director throughout that centennial. Bob mentioned what a successful year it has been for Tennessee.
Well, it has. We've had a celebration, kind of 100 years going on, and this is the climax of it. We're going to set an attendance record for the year, and that's a great tribute to our fans for, I think, for attendance, for John Majors having a great football team, and it's been an exciting year. We've had great weather every week, and we've enjoyed it.
The football season far from over, it appears. You will be going to the Sugar Bowl as long as you win these last 2 games, but you're that close to being undefeated. Is it kind of a frustrating season?
Well, I think some of the injuries early to Chucky Webb certainly made a difference in this team, but Tony Thompson has done an excellent job job of filling in. It's a very solid football team, and several games could have gone either way. But we won a couple of key games, both in Mississippi and Florida, and those are very important in our year, and I hope that we're going to win 2 more.
You went to the Sugar Bowl with a quarterback by the name of Daryl Dickey, standing on the opposite sidelines today as the quarterback coach at Kentucky. Have you talked to him about today's game?
Yeah, we talked a little earlier in the week. I told him no screens and no reverses.
Okay, thank you very much, Doug Dickey, and we'll be back with a kickoff of Tennessee and Kentucky in just a few moments.
Today's game from Knoxville, Tennessee is brought to you by Schlitz Malt Liquor. No one does it like the Bull. By Sitco, the side.
This is the 86th meeting between Tennessee and Kentucky. Tennessee has won the last 5, and thus they had the rights to the beer barrel, which they play for today in the last 5 games. Kentucky's last victory came in 1984 when Kentucky secured a berth in the Hall of Fame Bowl after taking a 17-12 victory. These two teams have met every year since 1918 with the exception of World War II. Bottom left of your screen is Kurt Johnson, number 8. And number 20 up at the top is Chris Colbert. They are set to take the kickoff, and this game is underway. This is Kurt Johnson. He was injured last week, did not play against Florida. Johnson with an exceptional kickoff return. Out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Freddie Maggard is playing hurt today. Injured his shoulder in the ball game last week, re-injured it again in practice this week. He's 6'2", 212 pounds from Cumberland, 6 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. He's thrown for more than 1,000 yards. So it'll be a question as to how long Maggard will be able to hold up in this ball game today. Samuels and Al Baker are the running backs. Samuels 44, Baker 5 with the ball. And an opening for Al Baker. And he's in Tennessee territory to the 49-yard line. And it's time to take a look at the die-hard key matchup in this ball game.
Kentucky is going to have to be able to run the ball. And as you saw, Al Baker has been inspired this year. Good running inside. Tennessee, on the other hand, has shown that at times they tackle poorly. So if Kentucky can move the ball on the ground, maintain possession of the football, they can keep their team in the game.
That was a gain of 13 yards. First down 10, Tennessee territory. On the pass, that's Neil Page, the tight end, about 8 yards over on the left side. Roderick Lewis made the stop.
Maggard carrying that right arm awfully low, Bob. He hurt it for the first time against North Carolina, re-injured it last week, and then in practice, as you mentioned, aggravated it again. Prior to this last week, he could only throw in practice every other game, and Smith takes him down, and that's an awfully tough young man there, Fred Maggard. I'm just not sure how long he's going to last.
Took a look on that arm on that play. Second down 2. Kentucky from the 42 of Tennessee. This is Samuels, the fullback, to the 33-yard line. First down. Tennessee on the opening moments looks a little flat.
Bob, when they came out, they introduced their seniors. They just played Notre Dame. They just played Ole Miss. 2 very, very emotional games. All week long, they've been looking at this Kentucky team that got disassembled by Florida. Emotionally, as they came out onto the field, they were kind of in a party atmosphere, like it's over already. This will wake them up.
Kentucky on the drive just outside the Tennessee 33-yard line. Maggard out of the shotgun. Here's that shovel pass. Baker's got good speed to get on the corner. He drives near the 28-yard line. Roderick Lewis, the redshirt freshman, combined with Jeremy Lincoln to make the stop on Al Baker. What a difference in this young man from the time we first saw him to this point in his career.
He has really become a man, and here it is, the shovel pass, which Larry Lacewell and all the old-time football guys call the Utah, because it was developed by Jack Curtis in Utah back in the 1950s. And Johnny Major's obviously concerned. He's talking to John Chavis there, and a defensive assistant.
Second down 5. Shotgun formation again. Maggard hit as he throws. Nice catch by Samuels. He dives to the 18-yard line. That's Terry Samuels, the redshirt freshman. He was hauled down by Darrell Hardy, number 87.
Let's watch this Tennessee pass secondary, which is vastly improved this year. Samuels dips inside, gives a nice move to Hardy. and then breaks it to the outside. Maggard delivers the ball right on the money, and you got to give Terrence Samuels a blue star for a good catch, but you got to give a Purple Heart to Freddie Maggard, who's really playing in pain.
Samuels had 28 catches coming into the game. First down, Kentucky at the 18 of Tennessee. Samuels on the run to the 14-yard line. First of all, they got a 35-yard kickoff return from Kurt Johnson, and Kentucky, through the short passes and the interior running game, is moving it against Johnny Major's squad.
Low-risk passes, and ball security is something that Bill Curry talks about all the time. It's something that's important to John Majors because obviously they lead, they're second in the nation in turnover ratio. But last week against Florida, they didn't protect the ball, and they know that's fundamental to success this Saturday.
Second down, 7 from the Tennessee 14. Incomplete, in and out of the hands of Mike Thomas. He might not have got much had he caught that ball. The coverage was good. It was right in his face. Roderick Lewis was there along with Ernest Fields, the team's leading tackler. Fields is number 23.
Talking to Tommy Bowden before the game. Tommy is, of course, the son of Bobby Bowden, the illustrious coach of the Florida State Seminoles, but they had gone to a 2 tight end offense midway during the season. Tommy said, well, you know, that kind of puts me to sleep. I don't know if you're going to see that much. So he's got a lot of his dad in him.
8th play of the drive, third down, 7 from the Tennessee 14. Neil Page switching, as do Baker and Samuels out of the shotgun. It's complete. Samuels to the 5-yard line. Penalty marker is down. Could be a face mask. It's a first down, Kentucky. What a drive. Tennessee fans are a bit stunned here after watching Florida dismantle Kentucky last week. But as you pointed out, Tim, Kentucky got started and played a good first quarter against Florida last week.
This time a little confusion in the Tennessee secondary. Page was open down the middle. Lewis gets there. Face mask call.
They'll move it to the 2.5. That'll be first down goal.
But last week against Florida, it started like this, too. Kentucky had 155 yards in the first quarter. They came out breathing fire.
3 tight ends. Jackson, Henderson, and Page are in there. First and goal from the 2.5. Baker right on the doorstep. Baker got inside the 1-yard line, but not into the end zone. Second down goal from about a football length away.
Let's see it down front. Let's watch these rascals work. You see Mazzella, 73, Neil Page, 47, firing off, creating the push. Baker struggling to get in. He's got 9 touchdowns on the ground already this year. Bill Curry has got to be proud of his team the way they came out today.
Just about 2 inches to go. Baker took a big hit from Ernest Fields. The 5'10", 230-pound junior really put a lick on Al Baker.
Let's watch Ernest Fields come over the top. He had 14 tackles against Colorado early on, and that was just heralded what would come for this young man the rest of the season. He has been the leading tackler for Tennessee all year long. Ernest Fields, and just a real team guy. And this has been a team effort for Tennessee. They don't have the prolific talent that Florida has on defense. They've got a group of guys working together, and in some positions they are struggling.
Only 21 points allowed all year by the Tennessee defense. Kentucky's very well aware of how tough this third down will be. They call timeout. Maggard goes over to talk to Bill Curry and his staff, and we'll be back to Neyland Stadium with Kentucky got the 35-yard kickoff return. 5 runs, 5 passes. They're on the doorstep.
Tennessee has not given up a rushing touchdown to an SEC opponent this year, Bob.
Al Baker gets the first one. Touchdown, Kentucky. Well, that was an impressive 11-play drive, well-balanced. That was 6 runs, 5 passes. After the 35-yard kickoff return, Kentucky made Tennessee see that they can move the football. As you say, Tennessee came out here a little flat. If this doesn't give them the wake-up call, nothing will. Doug Pelfrey in for the point after, and Kentucky up 6-0, looking to make it 7. Steve Phillips, the holder, number 25. Point after is good, and Kentucky has a 7-0 lead over the prohibitive favorite Tennessee Volunteers, thanks in part to that man, Al Baker, who had a 13-yard run to start things and then took it in from a yard. Well, Kentucky hammered it in. They lead 7-0. 9:57 to go in the first quarter.
And here it is. Watch it in this side right here. Here's Ernest Fields, and he stopped it the last time. This time he's going to come in a little bit too far inside and get caught. You see Henderson and Jackson here, blockers for Kentucky. 85 leading the way. Fields can't get out in time to fill that crack, and Lincoln doesn't get it closed. Good job by the Kentucky offensive line, moving people out of the way. Touchdown, Kentucky. Surprising 7-0 lead.
You know, last week, Ole Miss got over 450 yards against Tennessee. Turnovers what cost them there. Dale Carter 18 and Anthony Morgan 80 are back to take the kickoff. Volunteers trail 7-0. Ole Miss could have won that game last week. That was a very competitive game in Memphis.
They have to be very proud of the efforts that they put forth last Saturday afternoon.
Morgan's going to bring it out of the end zone despite advice to the contrary. Nice cut against the grain, and Morgan goes out of bounds right at the 20-yard line. Well, he saved himself some criticism there. Andy Kelly is the University of Tennessee quarterback, 7 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions on the year. Sterling Henton, the other quarterback for Tennessee, is hurt, and a freshman backs up Kelly should they have to make a change at that position. It has not been the strongest of positions for the Tennessee Volunteers this year.
But as we pointed out in the open, Bob, Andy Kelly really has hit his stride here in the last 3 games, and he played almost flawlessly against Ole Miss.
He was one of the offensive players of the week in the SEC last week. Time to throw, incomplete, intended for Tony Thompson, who could not hold on to it. And here's the die-hard key matchup.
Pickens and Harper. Last week, Kentucky chose to blitz a lot. They felt they had to do that to stop the run, and what it did was it put their defensive backs man-to-man on Florida's wide receivers. This is a scarier tandem than the Florida pair. And hopefully they won't find themselves in that man-to-man situation quite as often.
73 catches, 6 touchdowns between them. Second down, 10. Not much happening. A gain of a couple of yards. Jerry Bell steps in there to make the hit. Here's Kentucky's scoring drive. That was Tony Thompson carrying the ball. 11 plays, 62 yards, took 5 minutes. Very well balanced drive. Maggard went 4 out of 5 for 32 yards passing on that drive.
And that's how they started out against Florida. Moved the ball down the field, but then they had an interception, a turnover. Next possession, they had the screen pass for a touchdown, but then another turnover. So if they can protect the ball, they'll be all right.
On third down, they get Kelly at the 13-yard line, and that's the big play bandit, Jeff Brady, number 39. He made some big plays against Florida, particularly early last week. 5th sack on the year, Tim.
Okay, let's see it again now. Okay. Jeff Brady, number 39, coming on the inside. Little game. You saw Jerry Bell on the inside occupying the line, and just a little confusion in the protection, and Brady came clean.
So Tennessee's Joey Chapman has to punt it out of there. Tolbert doesn't get what penalty markers are down, and he's down at the 46-yard line. Punt of 42 yards, a return of only 3 from Chris Tolbert, the man who made the play. Darrell Hardy for Tennessee, and yellow flags are down. And Kentucky, even with a penalty, won't have bad field position. Rom Gilbert, the man in the white hat, our official. Wow, that was a very authoritative clipping. Rom may have injured his right leg on that call. And it'll move it back here. Kentucky would have had it at the 46.
Clipping on the return team. First down.
At the 31-yard line. So Kentucky leads at 7-0. They move it back after the commercial. They dropped it back another yard. It's at the 30-yard line, and Johnny Major's defense is on the field again, trailing 7-0. Days Inn is proud to recognize this week's classroom champion, Melvin Stewart, from the University of Tennessee. The junior from Fort Mill, South Carolina, competes as a member of the volunteer men's swim team and carries a 3.2 GPA in business. This past summer, Melvin set the American record in the 200-meter butterfly at the Goodwill Games in Seattle. Melvin Stewart, our Days Inn classroom champion. First down 10. Wildcats from their own 30. Al Baker. Not much. About 2 off the right side. Ernest Field with his second tackle of the afternoon.
And a good job by number 99, Casey Rogers, of squeezing that down. Little trap, tried to create a seam in there, and Rogers got his head on the inside. There wasn't any room. Fields there for the bounce.
Al Baker from Cadiz, Kentucky. He's a senior, highly recruited high school player. Disappointing start, a lot of injuries. Moved to fullback, back to tailback. They still rotate him a bit at fullback. On the second down, Maggard's trying to go deep. Double coverage down there on Phil Logan. He's playing shaken up today, too. He has an injury.
Tennessee does an interesting thing on defense, Bob. In watching the films, they give a double zone look. And in that kind of a setup, the sidelines look like they're open. They call it the fade, straight up the field, along the sideline, about 15 yards. But actually, they don't play double zone as much as it looks like. They'll come out of that, and just like on that particular pattern, Maggard was a little deceived by the look.
Maggard also hurt his arm, went out, and Ryan Hockman, 19, came in. Hockman opens up, throwing, almost picked off. So we didn't think Maggard would be able to stay in long. He has a separated shoulder, and sophomore Ryan Hockman had to come in for one play. Jeremy Lincoln almost got it. It was intended for Logan.
Let's watch number 25 there. Jeremy Lincoln getting depth, getting depth, getting depth, giving that safety some help. Look at him go up into the air, displaying why he's a defensive back instead of a wide receiver, but a good drop by Jeremy Lincoln.
Bill Hawk in for the punt. He's averaging about 40 a punt, and this one is a beauty. Back into the 14-yard line, out to the 22, and Tennessee will take over there. It was Bill Campbell who came down to make the play, and a nice job of punting, 54 yards by Bill Hawk. So now Tennessee trailing 7-0 from their own 21.5-yard line. They were 3 downs and out on the first one, including an 8-yard loss on a sack of Andy Kelly.
But on that particular play, Bob, a lot of space in the secondary between the receivers and the defensive backs. Kentucky's secondary is as much heart as they have and as gritty as they are, cannot match up all afternoon man-to-man against this Tennessee offense.
Thompson stopped right at the line of scrimmage. As he cut it outside, he ran right into the waiting arms of junior Derek Thomas, number 56.
Joey Couch kind of balled it up front, nowhere to go. And Derek Thomas staying at home, makes the play.
Second down 11, Tennessee. 1 yard passing, -5 rushing so far. Make it about -8 or 9 rushing. Brad Shuford got Tony Thompson. That brought some oohs and almost sounded like a boo or two here.
Watch number 78. Watch him get around there. Brad Shuford, zip right around there and makes a play. And as you said, Bob, these people came here today, I think, and they were in a jubilant mood before the game started. They're going to see their team bury Kentucky, and that's not happening so far.
Jubilation eluding Tennessee at the moment. Third down 14 now. Kelly tries to screen to Amsler. Gets some good blocking. Well executed out to the 38-yard line. First down. Jeff Grady had to make the stop, a gain of 20 yards. Greg Amsler, the senior from Chatham, New Jersey.
New Jersey, and he's the runner receiver at fullback. This time they spread Kentucky to the wide side of the field to draw attention. They got all the dynamite out there, and then they dump it to Amsler back on the short side. And as you mentioned, a great job by some linemen downfield.
6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Penalty markers drop at the line of scrimmage. That'll be a penalty against Tennessee, moving them back and making it first down 15. Legal procedure is the call against the Volunteers. 5:59 remaining in the first quarter. Kentucky leads it by a score of 7-0 on an 11-play, 62-yard drive on the opening possession of the game. First down 15. 2 receivers split wide to the right, 1 to the left. Kelly. It's picked off by Derek Thomas. He batted it into the air and then caught it at the 20. What a play.
only Kentucky's third interception a year, Bob. We saw their last one against their second one against Florida last week by Gary Willis. They come back with the same play. Tennessee will do that. Repeat plays. They got the screen pass going back to the short side. Derek Thomas leaps into the air, comes down with the interception. Just a great individual effort by the young man from Lexington, Kentucky.
Now Ryan Hockman continues at quarterback. He's number 19 for Kentucky, the sophomore. Maggard hurt his arm and went out early. There's the play fake, good protection. There's the completion to Samuels. Samuels to the 9-yard line. First down, Kentucky. He was tackled by J.J. McCleskey and Darrell Hardy.
Good hit by McCleskey. This is the play that Mississippi State has used all year long. A little boot. Little play action. Good fake by Hockman. Settles down with it, and then they slide the fullback out to the other side. Hardy there to make the tackle with the help of McCleskey. But Hockman threw the ball for 37 touchdowns his last 2 years in high school. And you see John Majors, that's a look of concern.
Harrison, Ohio. His dad's a coach, high school coach. Hockman into the end zone, touchdown! Phil Logan in Kentucky has scored 2 touchdowns in the first 10 minutes of this game, and that's Hockman's first collegiate touchdown pass.
Is that a smile? Is that a smile we see on Coach Curry? He's got to be feeling good right now. You know, we talked during the week, Bob, about what he would say to this team to get them back up after they got demolished last week. The team's showing a lot of character.
Bill Curry has said that this is not the best team he's coached, but he likes the character of the team as much as any team in his coaching career. And now they lead Tennessee 14-0 with 5:20 to go in the first. Logan's third touchdown reception, Hockman's first ever as a collegiate. It's 14-0 Kentucky.
And you see, there's Phil Logan out here. Floyd Miley, a little bit too much space here, but the guy that makes it happen is this little chubby guy, Joel Mazzella. Watch him roll out and get the block that gives Hockman time to get this ball off. Good upfield pressure by Tennessee. Mazzella's there, gives him some help. Boom, zings it in there, touchdown. Now, of course, what made all this possible was good, aggressive upfield play by Derek Thomas, leaping into the air, grabbing the interception.
Whew. This is as quiet as I have ever heard Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. It seats 95,000. And these folks are, at the moment, stunned. They're 5 minutes, 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Tennessee is down 14-0. Out to the 26-yard line goes Dale Carter. And let's go down to Craig Sager.
Well, thank you, Bob. Ryan Hockman obviously took advantage of the opportunity. Freddie Maggard's right shoulder popped out. They have iced it down. They say he can return as soon as the strength returns, so they say probably another series or two. But as we saw, Ryan Hockman looked very impressive. Bob?
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, maybe tough to get back in there. This Ryan Hockman, Tim, looks more like a veteran than a young sophomore.
And just obviously very well coached. Darrell Dickey is the quarterback coach there at Kentucky and has done an excellent job.
On the first down, short drop by Kelly, tosses it out quickly to Pickens. Campbell couldn't hold on. He got his shoe, and that's all. Pickens. Hauled down by Brady. Shoeless Carl Pickens got 21 yards.
And when a man like this has the football, when a man that is just as dynamic an athlete as this guy is, you can never take a half-speed step. You got to be coming all the time. You can never think he's down. And there he goes. The plunk, kerplunk, kerplunk, kerplunk.
First time I've seen tear away shoes. Tennessee out at the 47. First down. Tony Thompson. To Kentucky territory for the first time today for Tennessee. Kentucky's scoring drive was a short one after the interception by Derek Thomas. 3 plays, 20 yards. It took only 30 seconds. Logan caught the touchdown pass from Ryan Hockman. 14-0, 4:20 to go first quarter.
Plenty of time for this offense that averages over 400 yards a game to get back in it.
Thompson hit in the backfield but broke the tackle and gets to the 35-yard line. Jerry Bell got back there and got a hold of him. Then Swanson finally finished him off.
Zane Bean upfield in good shape too, and Zane's number 59. He's playing for the injured Dean Wells, who hurt his knee, and they're going to miss him. Zane is a true freshman, and although he's gotten better every week, Dean Wells has the experience of a hardened veteran back there.
3rd down 2 for Tennessee. That's outside the 45-yard line. That's almost picked up. That was Bill Campbell. Look at the look on Kelly's face. He doesn't know what's happening to him.
I have to believe this is an automatic. He sees a one-on-one out there, and Bill Campbell, who's playing for the injured Larry Jackson, goes high into the air, and another dynamic play. Just right now, this Kentucky defense is playing at the upper limits of its ability.
Joey Chapman. No, make that Kelly. Andy Kelly makes the punt. He does a good job. Kelly's the pooch punter for Tennessee, and you see why. That ball's going to be down to about the 8.5-yard line. 36-yard punt, very effective. So Kentucky has the ball, leading 14-0 with 3:25 to go in the first quarter. Andy Kelly does a good job with that pooch punt for Johnny Majors, and Kentucky now in a bit of a hole, even though they've got the football. Ryan Hockman continues at quarterback.
He certainly has looked strong, and you know John Majors is concerned about the ease with which this offense is moving through that Volunteer defense.
Rushed for 30, passed for 50 so far has Kentucky. Al Baker tries the middle. Drives out near the 15. Gain of about 5 or 6. Dwayne Dotson makes the stop for Tennessee. Baker now 6 carries, 24 yards.
John Majors going after his 100th victory here in Knoxville today. 14th season as a head coach here at Tennessee. 23rd season as a head coach.
Henderson and Page double tight ends on 2nd down 4 for the Wildcats. Pitch to Baker. Works the left side. Shows some strength. Nothing was there. Tennessee made initial contact at about the 14. Baker struggles to about the 17-yard line, short of the first down.
Yeah, Al Baker rushed for 5,350 yards in high school, and we watched him for 3 years waiting to display some of that potential that people talked about. And I'm not sure exactly what it was in the staff. The running back coach at Kentucky now is a young man named Walter Lewis, former quarterback of Alabama. Somebody found his button and pushed it, and he's playing like a grown-up now.
3rd down 2 from the 18-yard line. Baker dives close to it. It'll depend on the spot. He was tripped up by 53 Kerry Bailey.
Be close. Be close.
Let's watch number 63, Joel Mazzella. Last year, 2nd team All-SEC, getting a good crack back down, push back block on Shazan Bradley. And they've built the offensive line around Joel. He was a walk-on linebacker when he arrived at Kentucky 4 years ago, and been a player ever since he got there.
It's going to be short about half the length of the football. And Kentucky doesn't want to gamble there at that part of the field, and they'll punt it away. So Tennessee holds on a crucial 3rd down 2, because it would certainly change the field position if Kentucky had developed a new set of downs. Carter goes back to take the punt. Bill Hawk, who had a 54-yarder, comes in to punt it from his own 5. Tennessee sending 10 men up there on the line. They'll go after it. Hawk gets away another cannon shot. Look at this. All the way back to a 21. It was a Willie Mays over-the-shoulder catch for Carter just to get a hold of the ball. And now they got a hold of Carter at the 28-yard line. A 59-yard punt, 7-yard return. Whoa, minute 26 to go in the first. Kentucky with a 1st and 10 from the 27. Thompson, some running room. Holleran slowed him down till he got help. Out to the 33-yard line. Reggie Smith finished him off. Holleran playing hurt again today also.
Touchdown!
He dislocated his shoulder last week against Florida, left the field, then came back on there. And, of course, he's the guy that they really rely on defensively. 166 tackles coming into this game. Amazing athlete. Just one of those kind of kids that, boy, I tell you what, if he was a couple inches taller, he'd rule Earth.
He'd have been at Penn State, probably. He's from Pennsylvania. Nothing happening that time on second down. Holloran and Couch combined to make the stop again for the Wildcats.
It's at times like this when those Tennessee players on offense are saying, who are these guys? These aren't the same guys we watched on film last week.
Those were actors.
Who'd they give these jerseys to anyway? Of course, John Major's been around long enough to know that from week to week anything can happen, and right now it's happening.
21 seconds to go in the first quarter. Andy Kelly had a go pattern out there to Carl Pickens. Pickens wasn't ready to go. Chris Tolbert was covering on the play. And Tennessee's 3 downs and out again.
Fantastic defense. Just a lack of coordination there. A little confusion. Tolbert in good position to play the hitch. Had a piece of Pickens, but Kelly thought that it was going to be the hitch.
Tolbert's going to get a chance to carry the ball himself this time, probably. Kentucky trying to come after that punt. Oh, my. Almost got it. Here's Tolbert at the 30. Nice catch by Tolbert. Tough run up to the 41-yard line. Jeff Brady almost blocked that punt, number 39 for Kentucky. Kentucky's blocked a bunch of kicks, punts, point afters this year. 36-yard punt, 11-yard return. Watch Jeff Brady, 39 here.
And as you mentioned, Bob, he's just a big play guy for him. Whoa! Almost there. Just excellent effort.
4 seconds remaining in the quarter. Kentucky up, that's right, 14-0. Hoffman pitches to Baker. He's got some running room up to the 48-49-yard line. That'll be the last play of the first quarter. Kentucky's out at midfield, feeling very good about themselves here at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. Leads at 14-0 as we're ready to start the second quarter. Very balanced offense from Kentucky in the first half. They've run it for 47, passed it for 52.
And I'm wondering, who are these guys? Just and let's just see. This is what happened in the first quarter last week, and so let's see if Kentucky can maintain it. Obviously, their players ready to go, playing with all their hearts, and let's just see if they can hold off that Tennessee attack.
And the first quarter statistical story, you see that it's been Kentucky. 46 yards rushing, Tennessee only 6. 52-41 passing, Tennessee with the 1 turnover. That was a big one, too, as Kentucky linebacker Derek Thomas intercepted a pass, and Kentucky took it in for a touchdown 3 plays later. Here's Baker going the other way now. Outside speed, Baker. From a 35-yard line, Al Baker. That was a gain of 16 yards. Baker's got 51 rushing on the day.
Let's look at it from the end zone here. Mazzella pulling out in front. 44 Samuels throws a block, misses, but they're just not filling the cutback lane, and Baker is turning it upfield and making some good yardage. Good tackle by Mark Fletcher, brings him down. But Baker is on his way to his 4th 100-yard game of the year. He will amass more yardage this year than he did in his career till this point.
First down 10 from the 35-yard line. Hoffman out of the shotgun. Steps up beautifully. He's going to run it. He's got 5. He's got the first down to the 24. I like the look of Brian Hockman, the sophomore, in for the injured Freddie Maggard. As we pointed out, look at his good judgment.
Greg Lauer, number 71, pushes Smith past the passer. Hockman steps up, decides to pull it down and run it up there, and he's got 4.55 speed. He's a good athlete, strong arm, and obviously isn't flustered by the pressure.
First down, Wildcats at the 24 of Tennessee. There's the play. No play fake. He hands it off to Baker, who is hit for a loss. Should have been a play fake. Gary Bailey makes the stop.
Tommy Bowden is the guy that's calling the plays up in the box, and it's just a matter of trying to keep them off balance.
Look at that. Indiana leading Purdue. You saw that score.
I did see that score.
I have a good feeling about Purdue today.
Good.
Doesn't impress you, does it? Mike Thomas, Terry Samuels in the backfield for the Wildcats. 2nd down, 12. Out of the shotgun. Outstanding coverage by Ernest Fields once again on Mike Thomas. That could have been picked off.
Kentucky trying to get the ball wide in a hurry. He sees the blitz, lets it go. Share the hand up there, Big Mike. Of course, you know that when a guy like Ernest Fields is coming, you want to have that other arm there to protect yourself.
Milan, Tennessee. 3rd down, 12, Kentucky. Got rid of it on the screen to Baker. Guess who was there to make the hit? Number 23, Ernest Fields, has come alive for Tennessee. Good quarterback pressure, too, by 56, Chuck Smith.
You got a screen pass going all the way on this one, Bob. Wide receivers really not running hard downfield. Hockman dumps it off to Baker, but Smith had done Fields, had done an excellent job getting rid of Mazzella and made the tackle.
Pelfrey for a 46-yard field goal. His long on the year is 50. He's 10 out of 15. Pelfrey, the sophomore, former defensive back. It was tipped at the line. So Tennessee's defense comes alive here in the opening series of the 2nd quarter. Kentucky continues to lead 14-0. Let's see if the momentum switches to the Tennessee offense now. Tennessee's defense holds. The field goal attempt is tipped, falls short, and it's still 14-0 Kentucky.
Let's take a look at this now. There's number 70, Charles McCray. Watch him get penetration on timing, get his hand up. These guys just drive forward, penetrate, boom, hand up. He's not really watching. It's a timing type of thing, and he gets his hands on it, knocks it down. Good effort by Charles McCray. Probable 1st-round draft choice when the NFL draft rolls around. He's the other bookend. And Tone Davis on the other side. Give them the best tackle combination in the nation.
He's 6'7", maybe the NBA look at it. Kelly's going to go deep. It is caught by Pickens. Nobody's going to catch him. Touchdown, Tennessee. 71 yards. Tennessee would ignite the up-till-now lethargic Tennessee offense. That's the longest catch for Pickens on the year. Here's Greg Burke for the point after. It's good, and now it's 14-7 Kentucky. 12:23 to go in the 1st half. On yards, Andy Kelly with his 8th touchdown pass of the year to Pickens. Pickens' 3rd grab, longest of the year for Pickens.
Good protection by the Tennessee offensive line. The first clue should have been that the AstroTurf or whatever the artificial surface is here was starting to singe. You know, he just took off and ran. Too deep zone, nobody touched him, and he just ran by Gary Willis, and that won't be the last guy he runs by in his career here at Tennessee. But that's what you don't want to have happen. Saw Bill Curry look to Rick Smith, the defensive secondary coach, and say, hey, what do you do?
Not a lot of white jerseys back there deep. Of course, that's what Kentucky's had to do. They had to really make those defensive backs naked. Hold it. Oh, he was a step away from big yardage on the kickoff return, but he didn't get it.
Well, that was
Dodson with the tackle.
I'm sorry, Bob. That was not one of the plays where Kentucky was going after him. They were actually playing a zone back there. They were playing a conservative defense. That shouldn't have been able to happen. But when you're playing against somebody like Pickens, you're just not used to that kind of acceleration. And all of a sudden, he's close to you, and before you know it, he's 3 yards by you.
On 1st down, Kentucky now gets the crowd noise from Neyland Stadium. Hoffman on the rollout. It's complete out to the 32-yard line to Bobby Henderson. Henderson's 6'2", 245-pound senior tight end.
Great call by the young Bowden. You know, he's got that defense all fired up, all ready to charge, get those linebackers ready to attack, starting to drool from their mouth, and comes at him with a play pass. Gets them coming upfield, and they catch Henderson coming open across the field.
For 9 yards, second down 1 from the 32. Hoffman gives it to Samuels, who gets the first down, and then takes a big hit at the 45. Dale Carter tripped him, and Roderick Lewis, number 5, put the real pop on him, but not till Samuels got the first down. Good interior play by that Kentucky offensive line.
Good interior line play here. It's a trap. You see Hewlett, number 61, just turning out, and Samuels busted up the middle. Dale Carter cuts him down, and then Roderick Lewis really lowered the boom.
Samuels had to go out. He was shaken up a bit on that play. Dale Seed on the fullback. On the first down. Good pressure, good quick feet. He steps out of bounds at the 49 of Kentucky, gains 6 yards on the play. He got pressure from Todd Kelly, 58. But I really like the look of Ryan Hochman.
Well, he's got everything that you... seems to have everything you want in a quarterback. He's poised. It didn't bother him last week coming in against those monsters from Florida. He's got the ability to escape, and he seems to handle the ball well. Good technician back there, and he's got an arm.
Had a lot of crowd noise to deal with here in the opening play of this drive after Tennessee had the 71-yard touchdown pass. Good moves his team up to midfield. Here's Baker. Tripped up. Excellent play by 99 Casey Rogers.
Baker trying to get to the sideline for the big one. That time might have had it inside, but it's awfully easy for us to see it up here, especially when nobody's chasing you down to inflict pain upon your body.
You know, this is only the second game of the year that Kentucky's played on artificial surface. They played against Rutgers up in the Meadowlands in New York. Samuels back in along with Baker. Third down 4 at midfield. This is Baker. He gets the first down to the 43-yard line. Dodson made the stop. Baker now has 13 carries for 54 yards.
Let's look at it from the end zone here. Hewlett, Lahr, good turnout block by Henderson, and a fine lead by Samuels. And just that everybody's getting the hat on somebody. Bill Curry and his staff have done a remarkable job in getting this team ready to play, ready for the Volunteer game.
Look at the stat for Tennessee, 17 yards they average on the first down. Of course, 71 came on one first down. Hoffman under pressure. Look at him step in there. Finally, he goes down at the 49. Mark Moore got him. Excellent defensive pressure from Tennessee. Hoffman stepped up beautifully after Bailey took a shot at him, then Moore got him. We have 9:35 to go in the first half of play. Kentucky leading Tennessee 14-7.
Jerry Bailey looking as though he were hungry. That's a signal from the sideline about a lineman gain.
Hoffman completes it to Samuels. Short gain on the play. Couple of that. Darrell Hardy makes the stop. It'll bring up third down, long yardage. The line to make is the 33.5-yard line of Tennessee. This will be interesting. Third down, 13 out here at midfield. Let's see what Tennessee does defensively. Four-man rush. Hoffman has Clark wide open to the 26-yard line before Carter got him. Neil Clark with a reception. Big conversion, a gain of 21 yards.
Keep your eyes on number 5, Roderick Lewis. Number 5 drifts back in, looking for the first man inside. He gets lost, drifts too far outside, and Neil Clark opens up across the middle. Dale Carter is there to help deep. Just a matter of vision.
On the first down, they wanted a shovel pass. Tennessee played it. Hockman's going to have to run it again. Hockman takes a pretty good hit down at the 22-yard line by Floyd Miley. Looked like he wanted to shovel it, but had he shoveled it, I think Tennessee would have been catching it.
No doubt this is what was called. He looks inside, doesn't look good. See, that's another thing you're looking from a quarterback, an ability to think on his feet. Now, when you see all those orange shirts coming, though, Ryan, you better get down. Don't try to run over anybody. 10th play of a drive. It's just keeping the ball away from Tennessee's offense. Everything they want out of their offense.
This will be second down 7. Hoffman going down to the goal line. It's incomplete. He wanted to get Neil Clark, but Carter came up to make a beautiful defensive play.
And Carter has developed into a premier free safety. Watch this, number 18, dropping back in there. Hockman lets it go down the middle just as Clark clears the underneath coverage, and Carter up over the top. He's from Ellsworth Junior College. And looked like he got there about right on time. And that's not being biased toward Tennessee. It's just being biased toward the defensive player.
Which doesn't surprise us at all. I thought it was a tremendous play. What a nice job of threading the needle by Hockman. Got it right in between the coverage. Save for Dale Carter. Could have been a continuity next week at Sanford Stadium. Hope you'll join us for Georgia Tech's Yellow Jackets in Georgia. Third down 7. Hockman hands it off inside. Down near the 20 goes Mike Thomas. He needs to get to the 16 for the first down.
They're going to kick it again.
Tennessee holds. Here comes Pelfrey. Remember last time, Charles McCray got his hand on the field goal attempt. This is going to be about a 39-yard field goal attempt by Pelfrey. Kentucky leading 14-7, 6:44 remaining in the first half. Bad snap. It's a fake. Phillips throwing. Touchdown. Grabbed by Rodney Jackson. Phillips is the holder. Steve Phillips, who's the wideout. Looked like a bad snap to me. He jumped up, fires it into the end zone for the touchdown.
Exactly. He thought it was going to get blocked. An amazing call, a gutty call. Big catch by Rodney Jackson, and that may elicit another smile from Bill Curry. I think we saw one slip out earlier on.
Well, Dean Wilkes is the deep snapper. If he can make that short hop and make it look like it was a bad snap, he gets the gold star for the play. There's the point after. It is good. And Kentucky leads 21-7 on a fake field goal with 6:29 to go in the first half. Well, it's 21-7 Kentucky with 6:29 to go on the fake field goal and the pass from Steve Phillips to Rodney Jackson.
Excellently executed. There's Rodney Jackson right here, and this is the Tennessee secondary, and they're supposed to be keying in on these people on the outside. But what happens is they get caught up in the fake. Nobody sees Jackson coming downfield. Nobody's seen him yet. Finally, he sees the guy rolling out of there with the ball, and there it is. Steve Phillips, a left-handed chuck into the corner of the end zone to his teammate Rodney Jackson. Boom! Touchdown. Gutty call. Great catch by Rodney Jackson. That's his 25th of the year.
Once again, Neyland Stadium has gone silent.
I thought we'd hear Rocky Top a lot more than we've heard it so far today.
I think the over-under was 27 times. And it's not been played a lot. But this game is far from over. Remember, Tennessee's most efficient offensive team in history if they continue averaging 416 yards a game. We'll see some more scoring from the Volunteers. Despite trailing 21-7, that's Dale Carter. He was a step away. He gets to the 37-yard line before he's hauled down by Deuce Williams. A return of 36 from Carter. Those are the Kentucky coaches. You can just barely see them through the window.
They're disguised behind that maze there. Tommy Bowden's got the sweater on with the headset. His dad's probably watching since FSU is idle.
Getting ready for Florida. What a game that's going to be next week. Andy Kelly rolls out. Good coverage. He'll just have to keep it and step out of bounds after he gets only 2 or 3 yards. Derek Thomas chased him out. Well, that scoring drive was 77 yards in 12 plays. Took nearly 6 minutes. Looked like Tennessee had held on the 3rd down play. And then the fake field goal.
And the almost 6 minutes is the important part. I mean, this offense is tough to keep down. Notre Dame found that out. Ole Miss found that out. A lot of good defenses have found it out. Only Alabama has slowed them down for a whole game.
Kelly's short drop. He hits Moore. Moore close to the 1st down. Number 1, Vince Moore, 5'10", 205-pound senior from Memphis, tackled by Thomas and Swanson.
And defensively, in terms of Kentucky right now, you just don't want to have anything bad happen in a hurry. If it's going to be bad, let it take a little while to boil and simmer. Let them move their way down the field. That's okay, because you got an offense that's scoring. You got an offense that's moving. But just don't let them get back into it right away. Because as you pointed out, the stadium erupts.
3rd down 1. Look at that Kentucky balance on the day offensively. Tennessee is not going to get it. It'll depend on the spot. I think they held him. Joey Couch and Jerry Bell were there to stop Tony Thompson. Tennessee had a full house backfield. Let's just see where they finally decide to put the ball down. It's short of the 1st down. At midfield, does Tennessee want to go for it on 4th here?
Watch this effort. Couch just gets down underneath, and they can't move him out of it. Just piles up onto a stack of orange jerseys. They want to call timeout and talk over the play.
That'll be 4th down and just inches for Tennessee with 5 minutes to go in the 1st half, and they're trailing 21-7. Let's go down to Craig Sager.
Well, thank you, Bob. That fake field goal may have surprised all of us, but it not surprised the Tennessee coaching staff. They warned the team about the play. It was the responsibility of number 5, Roderick Lewis, a freshman, to guard the player when he went out for the pass. And right now he's getting chewed out of the bench. Other than that, it's a pretty quiet sideline. On the Kentucky side, the coaching staff is really talking to the players, but I think it's kind of a shock sideline over here to be down 21-7. Bob?
Well, it took a great catch from the tight end Rodney Jackson, despite freshman Roderick Lewis' inability to cover. He was relatively well covered, and a beautiful throw by the split end Steve Phillips, who's the holder on the placements. You know, I looked up Phillips just to see. Sometimes these fellows were high school quarterbacks. A lot of good athletes come into college out of high school. They played quarterback and everything else. Not Phillips. Never played the position. He was a defensive back in high school. And a wide receiver. And
Kentucky's doing just what they have to do. They are making the plays, both offensively and defensively. And Curry's got to hope that the pitch of this effort can stay at its present level.
4th down, inches for Tennessee. Actually about 18. Kelly wanted to try the long count to perhaps pull Kentucky offside. Didn't get it done. Now the delay of game, and they'll have to punt it away.
Delay game. Offense.
We've seen that happen before. Not necessarily even intending to go for a play on the 4th down, but they try it. See if Kentucky will jump, give them the first. If it doesn't work, they punt it. I don't know if that's what they called, but often you see it.
Well, it seems as though that's what they called, Bob. If it wasn't what they called, John Majors would be a lot more animated than he is right now. He'd be having a voluminous discussion with somebody.
Voluminous is good. I like that. To the 17-yard line, here's Tolbert for the 22. And Kentucky leads at 21-7 with 4:50 remaining in the 1st half. Kentucky leads at 21-7 after the exchange of punts. Kentucky will have it at their 22-yard line. Tim, after Tennessee got the 71-yard touchdown pass to Pickens, I thought perhaps Tennessee would get the momentum of this crowd, but Kentucky hung right in there, particularly that young quarterback Ryan Hochman.
You really have to be impressed with the fashion with which he's handling the leadership of this team, not being intimidated by all these 95,000 folks.
Handoff to Samuels, the fullback. Power run out across the 26-yard line. Casey Rogers finally brings him down. And now that's 99 yards on the ground by Kentucky here with 4:38 to go in the first half.
The offensive line coach at Kentucky is a young man named Rick Rhodes, and he's a former head coach at Troy State in Southern Illinois, and he has to be happy with his guys. Lara and Bradley on the outside, Mazzella and Perry and Branham, because they've been doing an admirable job of creating holes for Samuels and Baker.
Second down 5. Mike Thomas in the tailback at the moment. Fake goes to Thomas. Hochman wants to throw. Coverage is there. Hochman throws it away. Penalty marker is down back there at the point of the tackle. Mark Moore, 74, among others, was back in the face of Hochman.
Neil Page was trying to wiggle his way across the field. It was one of those boots. Hochman saw that he wasn't open, lifted the ball out of bounds.
Catch-no guarding. Offense.
Well, now, I don't believe that, boy.
Hey, Bobby, watch this one. If you're here, Bob, you know, because this is not bad here. You know, he's got a receiver on the sidelines, tight end crossing. That's thrown in the direction of somebody, and of course,
look at Curry's face.
He is amazed. I am amazed. I thought it was going to be roughing the passer.
And now it's 3rd and 23.
You see Dale Page? I see the receiver on the sideline, so I mean, that's close enough.
Unbelievable call. Tremendous game-turning type call. Here's the draw play to Mike Thomas. He bobbles the ball. Tennessee gets the fumble after the call. It is a game-turner. Oh, my. Wayne Dotson popped it loose, and Mark Moore came away with it. Credit Tennessee with the opportunistic play. But, oh, you have to question the call on the intentional grounding.
Running the draw, just trying to get it out of there without getting in trouble. As you said, Bob, just good opportunistic defense.
Here's Thompson. He gets a yard or so, not much more than that. Kentucky's defense is not flat on this series. 3:49 to go in the half. Kentucky leading 21-7.
Couch and Halloran and Brady, when they came onto the field after that turnover, were slapping people on the heads, and you know that's the kind of senior leadership that you need. Tennessee is second in the nation in turnover ratio, leads the SEC with +17. Second in the SEC is +6 by Mississippi State.
On the second down, Kelly has some time, incomplete at the 6-yard line. It was intended for tight end Vaughn Reeves.
And give Gary Willis, a defensive back for Kentucky. Oftentimes, a defensive back only gets noticed when the receiver slips away from him and catches a pass in the end zone. But that time, he was all over Alvin Harper, and they couldn't get it into Harper. And Harper only needs 2 catches in this game to get 100. So, I mean, that's an excellent receiver, and Gary did a nice job of sticking with him that time.
Big conversion play for Tennessee. This is 3rd down 10 from the 12. Kelly has time into the end zone. Wide open. Number 81, Alvin Harper. Tennessee touchdown. 4 wideouts were in the game for Tennessee. Harper, Moore, Pickens, and Morgan. Too many for Kentucky to cover.
Too many for most folks to cover. Nobody really sat down on Alvin Harper and jammed him and rode him to the outside. Just kind of came right down the seam. Andy Kelly picked him out and put it on him.
Greg Burke for the point after. He hasn't missed this year. And does it this time. And it's 21-14 with 3:13 to go. Once again, Ron Gilbert, the referee here today. We're not just jumping on officials, but a very unusual and, in our view, controversial call on the intentional grounding on Hochman. when he had players in his face, threw it out of bounds. Tennessee got a fumble one play later, then took it in for the 12-yard touchdown pass. Andy Kelly throwing.
And here you see Alvin Harper. He's right there, and this young man is supposed to get out here and get a little jam on him, slow him down, but instead he's right up the field, and the ball drifts right in there for a touchdown. And just got to get some width. Takes that one false step, doesn't get a hit on him. Andy Kelly does an excellent job of finding the open receiver. And look at this Tennessee offensive line. Myslinski, number 50. McCray, number 70. Nobody getting close. Just like practice there. Kelly puts it on the button.
Well, can Tennessee score quickly? Well, one touchdown came in only 10 seconds on one pass play for 71 yards. This one came in 46 seconds. So less than a minute, Tennessee scored 2 touchdowns in this game. Kurt Johnson, Chris Tolbert are back to take the kickoff for Kentucky. Still leading 21-14.
And that's what they have to realize, that they're still leading and they have to play like that.
Tolbert trying to get outside. Didn't get the help he needed. He's down at the 22-yard line with 3:05 to go in the first half. 16-yard return by Chris Tolbert. There's that 46 seconds.
3 plays, good solid defense by the Kentucky defense, the first 2. And then just didn't hold up well against Kelly and all those guys. All 4, I'll take any one of those guys. I mean, any one of those guys that can hurt you.
That was Harper's 15th touchdown catch. He's only one back of Tim McGee for the school record. Hoffman. It's complete. Nice job of threading it to Phil Logan for the first down at the 36-yard line. Gain of 14 on that play.
Now, you talk about putting it in there. That was in there. Dwayne Dotson was just running right with Logan. He was man-to-man underneath. He had deep help. Look at Dotson, 33. He bolts out of there. And Hockman stayed with him all the way. Good catch by Logan. Powerful throw by Hockman.
Really have to hand it to the Kentucky offense today. They have maintained possession of the ball. They've been able to run it this time, except for about 3 yards. Dotson made the play there out of the middle linebacker spot. Darryl Hardy helped him. 2:47 to go in the half. Coming up on the Georgia Pacific halftime report, Ron Poulin will bring us up to date with scores and highlights from around the country. And we'll take a look at this year's Bowls matchup. Craig Sager will have a live interview with Howard Schnellenberger, the coach at Louisville. Hockman steps into that pocket, gets rid of it out here to Baker. Penalty markers are down. Baker's down at the 42.
And back in 1954, Kentucky came in here, hadn't won in 30 years in Knoxville. And Bob Hardy threw a pass to Howard Schnellenberger, kicked the extra point. The Wildcats had their first victory in Knoxville in 30 years.
There's the call against Kentucky.
Personal foul. Offense. Hands to the face. Stay down.
They put it just inside the 20-yard line. Howard Schnellenberger stopped in our booth before the ball game. He wears a ring that's very similar to your ring, the 17-0 Dolphins season.
Fine coach. You're just a real student of the game. It's been around some great people. I worked with Don Shula, of course, and coached with Blanton Collier.
Second down, 26 now. Crowd getting into it again. 21-14 Kentucky. Hockman, play fakes, steps up, goes long. Almost picked off by Dale Carter. Incomplete, intended for Phil Logan.
Carter moves as well back there as anybody I've seen all year long. It comes from Ellsworth Junior College, had 17 interceptions in 2 years there, returned 6 kickoffs for touchdowns, and Majors thinks he's as good a defensive back as he's ever coached. And of course, that covers a lot of folks. He has really assumed the leadership in that secondary, and he's kept Carl Pickens on offense, actually.
This is third down, 26. With 2:01 to go in the half. They give it off to Al Baker. He gets it to the 25-yard line. far short of the first down, and Kentucky will have to call on another long punt from Bill Hawk, who's really been popping him today. He's averaging 60 yards a punt. He had a 55 and a 65-yard punt in his first 2 outings. They need one here again.
Yeah, I'd like to say Bob Woodruff was up in the booth earlier, and of course the guy that's been an integral part of building this Tennessee football machine, and he wanted us to say hi to Skeeter Bailey, who's in the hospital there in Fort Sanders Hospital. And he and Trudy send their best to you, Skeeter, and glad to hear you're getting out Monday. I hope you're still getting out Monday. Don't get that worried now. Relax.
We have timeout down there with 1:53 to go in the game, and Kentucky about to punt the ball away. Tennessee and Kentucky get timeouts, and the Kentucky punting team comes back out on the field now. This is a critical time because Tennessee, as we told you, scored on 1 play, 71-yard pass play in only 10 seconds, and then in 3 plays in 46 seconds. So Tennessee can certainly punch it in quickly in 1:53 that's remaining in this half. Dale Carter goes back to take the punt from Hawk.
And the Kentucky secondary is really mismatched in terms of speed. So you got to hope for pressure from somebody.
Not as good a punt this time. Carter finally down at the 48-yard line of Kentucky. That was only a 36-yard punt. And Tennessee has 1:41 to try to tie this game. What a turnaround. The intentional grounding call on Hockman. Then the fumble on the very next play, and Tennessee took it in for the touchdown. Kentucky had been leading 21-7.
Going with 3 down linemen here.
Kelly tosses it out here to tight end. That's Mark Adams. He's out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Jeff Brady with his 5th tackle of the day. Johnny Majors knows he's got himself a battle with the Wildcats. Tennessee was a 27 or more point favorite in this ball game. There's talk about how quickly Tennessee's scoring. Under half a minute to score their 2 touchdowns on the average. This will be 2nd down and short yardage. They're going to come out here and measure it.
They're just a bomb waiting to go off on offense. There's just when you have Harper on one side, that's enough to keep somebody up late at night trying to figure out how to stop him. But then you got Pickens on the other side, and then in passing situations they put Moore and Morgan in there. Timeout. Yeah, that's why you want the offense to run the ball a lot.
Not quite a first down. This brings up a difficult situation for Kentucky here. Now, do you bunch up to try to stop the first down on this play? If you do that, Tennessee tries to toss it on you. It puts those defensive backs, Willis and Tolbert, Ward, Armstead, whoever's back there in jeopardy once again.
He's been there enough times, John Majors. They talked about the odd year syndrome. This is an even year, but they say in the odd years they've done real well. In 83 they won 9, 85 they won the championship and beat Miami. 87 they were 10-2-1, 89 11-1. So all we got to do is win these 2 and forget all that syndrome stuff.
Virtually a 3 down for Tennessee. Let's see what they do with it. They're going to go for it. Kelly can't get rid of it. In comes 48 Joey Couch to knock him down back at the 44-yard line, a loss of 6. Well, Kentucky has come up with some monster defensive plays today.
And then another good job by Willis, Armstead, and Ward on coverage. They were locked up man-to-man back there.
This is 3rd down 7. Kelly has a lot of time this time, but he can't find anybody. Good defensive coverage again, intended for Adams. And the crowd not very happy with this Tennessee offensive effort.
There's Randy Sanders standing there next to John Majors, a former UT quarterback. Well, Tennessee probably felt like it had taken too long to score. We've used 3 plays. That's too many.
Andy Kelly will try to drop this ball down inside the 20 again. And he's going to get it to go down inside the 20. And out of bounds right at the 10-yard line.
Well, Larry knew, the defensive coordinator at Kentucky, Rick Smith, the secondary coach, has to be proud with the way his guys held up there. I don't imagine anybody was feeling real secure with Tennessee having the ball on the 50 with that much time left on the clock. See Tommy Limbaugh there sending Ryan Hockman onto the field with the play.
Hockman 8 of 12 for 59 yards, 1 touchdown pass today. Al Baker's gained 62 yards rushing. Tennessee has rushing the ball net 3 yards. Down 10 Kentucky from their 10. They're just going to try to hold on to the ball down there as Hockman just goes down here.
Now, if we didn't have the best stat man in America, Alex Figueroa, over there adding that stuff up, anybody would have a hard time believing. If you told me that Kentucky's going to hold Tennessee to 3 yards rushing the ball in the first half, that's impossible.
I keep that stuff in my head. There's no stat man. Alex isn't here.
That just goes to show you what a good job these guys at Kentucky have done getting their team ready. Bill Curry, who has been coach of the year last year, 1989, says there shouldn't be any coaches of the year, just staffs of the year. It's a team effort.
Well, Hockman and Kentucky wisely at their own 10-yard line let the clock run out here to end the first half of play. And Kentucky will be surprising a lot of folks who are seeing this score flashed up around the country. Leads Tennessee 21-14, and Kentucky has dominated this ball game. This season marks the 100th year of football here at the University of Tennessee. Let's look back at some of the great faces and moments of volunteer football in today's Citgo. An athlete, but a soldier at West Point and an engineering student, helping design the stadium that still carries his name. His national champion 1938 squad is the only volunteer team to win every game, including a 17-0 Orange Bowl victory over Miami. Defense was the name of the game in 1939, as the Vols did not allow a single point in the regular season. Then it was all aboard for a trip west to the Rose Bowl, as Neyland and the Volunteers enjoyed the sunshine and the celebrities of Hollywood. The 1951 Vols finished 10-1 and were again crowned national champions. Poor health would force the general to retire from coaching the following season, but just like Smokey the mascot, the name Neyland remains synonymous with Tennessee football.
Victory over one of those 4 SEC teams in the Fiesta Bowl, Louisville could wind up with the best record in the country. Howard Schnellenberger with us, and Coach, a lot of people said it couldn't be done. I know the reward comes in a bowl game, but the real reward for you and your coaching staff has to be the fact that you did it.
Well, Craig, this is a great thing for our football program and for our kids. They came there when it was not very popular to do so. They've spent 5 tough years bringing the program to this point, and then to be recognized and be rewarded with the opportunity to go to the Fiesta Bowl is what it's all about.
Unfortunately, anytime sports and politics get entangled, there's a chance you have bitter consequences. In this case, several teams have rebuked the Fiesta Bowl. I understand 6 o'clock you will be given an invitation. You will accept, I assume.
Well, should it happen, and I think it will, because we've got about 12 of their selection committee in Louisville right now. Obviously, our football team wanted to go to the best bowl, play the best team, to have the best opportunity to demonstrate how good they are. Unfortunate that these things are involved in it, but our kids want to make a major statement about how good they are and also about how they feel about the spirit of Martin Luther King. And they think that by being there for a whole week, they can do a lot more good than not being there at all.
Well, Dr. King never avoided or bypassed his dissenters, and I think it's a shame that some people are using the bowl game as a pawn in this controversy.
I didn't quite hear the question, but we think that it's very important that we go and we demonstrate and say the things that we believe about that situation.
What about the game we're watching here? This is your alma mater, Kentucky, out to a 21-14 lead. You may play Tennessee in the Fiesta Bowl. Are you impressed with Kentucky?
Well, first of all, I came down here to watch the University of Kentucky, and as I told you before the game, this game is always like this. Doesn't make any difference what this point spread is. And Kentucky will fight this game out to the bitter end. Whether they win or lose, I don't know. Secondly, now that the game is like it is, I'm starting to focus in and watching Tennessee because they just might be our opponent.
There are no restrictions. Do you think and Coach think that that will turn the whole situation into chaos?
Ron mentioned the fact that bowl bids can't go out officially till now. Next year they can go out anytime. Is that going to clear up the way the bowls are getting out invitations, or is it going to make matters worse?
I'm not sure what it's going to do. It might make matters worse. But one thing is for sure, people are going to have to be very certain before they do anything And how early they do it is going to be very critical. Obviously, some people that would like to get out of bowl bids right now, even though it isn't official.
Congratulations on not only building a foundation, but developing a program, one of the rising powers in college football. Howard Schnellenberger.
Kentucky 21-14. And now the pride of the Southland Band is on the field, and let's listen in.
Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
With Bill Curry's game plan for the Kentucky Wildcats. Pelfrey with the kickoff. Dale Carter. Pelfrey can't get him. One man to beat. He goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Gary Willis was there to save a touchdown, but Dale Carter ran it 69 yards back to the 30, and you heard Johnny Majors say, our special teams have to step forward. That's what happened.
Well, Dale Carter ran back 6 of these things in his junior college career, and he breaks a couple of tackles. They get a hand on him. Pelfrey can't bring him down. Gary Willis back there, hold him off. Drives him out of bounds. Good job by Willis. Fine return by Dale Carter.
First down 10, Tennessee trailing 21-14. There's the play fake. Kelly tosses it on the crossing pattern to Vince Moore. Moore is driven out of bounds after a gain of 5 yards by Bill Campbell. In the first half, here's what Tennessee did with the football. Not much. That's the first quarter.
Kentucky owned the first quarter. Tennessee struck in the second quarter, as you mentioned, Bob, quickly. Aggregate drive time of about 28 seconds.
This will be second down 5, Tennessee, from the 25. Here's the pitch out to Tony Thompson. He's got running room. To the 13-yard line. Baked it into the line, and then almost an option-like pitch out by quarterback Andy Kelly to Thompson, a gain of 12.
Tony Thompson from Lake Wales, Florida. This is designed. He's going to let that one go all the way. And Thompson has done a fantastic job coming in and replacing the injured Chuck Webb. Rushed for 248 yards in his first outing. We haven't had a chance to say much about him yet today, but I'm sure his yardage will start to add up in time.
Quick toss by Kelly to Pickens. Touchdown, Tennessee. Pickens with the extra effort at the goal line broke the plane of the goal line with the ball inside the orange post before he was knocked out of bounds, and that drive took 48 seconds. Burke, who hasn't missed a point after all year, continues his streak, 40 consecutive PATs, and it is tied for the first time since about 2 hours ago. Now it's 21. So finally the Tennessee band gets a chance to strike up old Rocky Top. It's tied at 21, 48-second drive.
You're going to watch Carl Pickens down here, and Carl's just going to, oops, still got my dotted line, just going to run a little hitch here. And here you see Sterling Ward. Watch his head turn, and he gets gotten by the turf. He loses his vision on the quarterback, focuses strictly on the wide receiver. When he goes to plant, falls down, and a great effort by Pickens to get that ball across the goal line.
2 touchdowns for Carl Pickens today, the sophomore from Murphy, South Carolina. Kirk nails it into the end zone. That'll get the crowd on their feet again. Kirk Johnson downs it. And Kentucky will come out first down 10 from their 20. But Kentucky has been able to play with poise most of the ball game. The only time they lost it was after the controversial intentional downing call against Ryan Hockman, then the fumble by Thomas, and Tennessee took it in for their second touchdown of the day. So early in the third quarter, tied at 21, Kentucky tries to get it going from their own 20. Now they're rocking Neyland Stadium here. You can feel the structure moving. Hockman to Samuels. Power runner out to the 29-yard line. Ernest Fields with the tackle, gain of about 8.5.
I'll show you the longest scoring drive of the day for Tennessee, 48 seconds. Just an explosive offense. Just from anywhere on the field, they can strike. You always have to be concerned about it. If you're a defensive back, you can't take a half-speed step. Now it's Kentucky's offense job again. This is a team game. Keep the ball away from that prolific Tennessee defense. Grind it out against this Tennessee defense.
Second down, about a yard. They give it to Samuels. He gets the first down, grinds it out to the 33.5. Casey Rogers makes the stop. I like the look of Terry Samuels, a 6'2", 240-pound fullback, number 44. He is a redshirt freshman from Louisville.
Came to Kentucky as a tight end, and they moved him to fullback in spring, and they weren't sure whether it was going to take, so they started Al Baker at fullback early on in the year, and Walker at tailback, and as he developed into a fullback, they could move Baker to tailback, and that's the setup you see now.
It's first down at the 33. Here's the pitch to Baker, looking for some room. Excellent defensive penetration by Kerry Bailey, the right tackle, number 53.
Here's Kerry Bailey, number 53. You see him the second from the bottom. Good job of keeping the blocker off him, keeps Lahr off him, and pursues to the ball. Samuels can't get him. And, you know, Bailey was a right tackle last year and started a couple of games against UCLA and Duke, but they thought some of their high-powered, big, tall, strong guys would beat him out. But he's a little squatty body that plays the run great.
Second down at 11. Tennessee with a blitz. And Hockman threw the pass high for Logan. It goes incomplete.
Let go of that one just a little bit too soon, but he could feel the heat. Johnny Majors brought the wake-up bell to that halftime talk. He didn't spare anybody's feelings in there at halftime. If these guys want to go to the Sugar Bowl, they've got to get ready to play. And they're just not that good on defense to walk in there and do it just on talent. They have to be fired up. Flying around.
Third down 11. Let's see if they come after Hockman. Only a 4-man rush. They say his arm was in motion. It is an incomplete pass. Casey Rogers, number 99, was the man who got back there.
As you mentioned, Bob, a 4-man rush, a little gaming up front. Kerry coming around the outside. Rogers nails him as he starts to let go of the football.
Hawk with a good punt this time. Carter. Look at his move. Dale Carter, and an outstanding tackle by number 7, wide receiver Neil Clark. But Carter to the 47-yard line of Kentucky. Yard punt, and then Dale Carter gets a 29-yard return before the perhaps saver tackle by Neil Clark, number 7.
John Majors talked about the special teams having to step up and do a bigger job. Great play here by Neil Clark. First of all, you see J.J. McCluskey could have clipped them. Whoops. Pretty hot stuff.
I don't know if you can show that on
I don't know. You know, all that stuff is really bourgeois as far as I'm concerned.
You're not really crazy about it.
No, really. But anyway, great tackle by Neil Clark and a good return by Dale Carter.
Kelly, incomplete intended to Vince Moore. Save it for the disco.
Yeah. See, that's the type of thing that this is a team game. And somebody made a great block to spring him on that run. And, you know, if you're going to get him dancing with you, well, maybe that's not bad. But you're not doing it all by yourself. And that's what I dislike about that focus on the individual. It's a team game, and they ought to play. They win and die together. That's like those big guys in the line. Those guys all sticking in there and fighting together. They don't get to dance.
Second now they can't dance.
Oh,
I
won't tell him he said that.
Here's Kelly. Short drop. Good pass out to Pickens. Oh, he's hard to corral. Out of bounds. Finally forced out by Ward and Billy Swanson. Gain of 12. Tennessee and Kentucky are tied at 21 with 11:45 to go in the third quarter.
Sterling Ward is having a problem out there with the footing. Part of this field is wet, and he's slipping a little bit as he tries to plant. What he needs to do is back up, give himself some room so he doesn't have to come barreling out of there right away at the snap of the ball.
95,000 at Neyland Stadium on a beautiful afternoon for football, just starting to cloud up a bit. Toss out here to Alvin Harper. Not dissimilar to the play that went to the left side to Pickens. It was Willis and Brady who made the stop on Alvin Harper, the 6'3" senior from Frostproof, Florida.
I think that's his second catch of the day. That gives him 100 on his career. So that puts him in the top 6. Only 6 people have done that before. Alvin Harper. Kelly doesn't have it on the other side, delivers it back here. Willis and Brady there to knock him out of bounds. And that's the way you want to make Tennessee move the ball down the field. And then you're hoping for a ball against the shoulder pad, a bad throw by Kelly, something, so you can take the ball away from this offense. But make them work for it. Make them earn it.
The measurement. And it's just inches short, about 4 inches short, according to the signal by referee Ron Gilbert. Not many artificial surfaces remaining. They're making a lot of changes, and a lot of schools are putting in natural turf. But the artificial surface remains here at the University of Tennessee. Tuscaloosa in Alabama, natural turf going in.
They replaced the artificial surface in Gainesville. From a player standpoint, there's no question about it. It's a lot easier to fall on that sod.
Amsler tries to get the first down and does by about a foot. Couch and Holloran make the tackle. Holloran, as we told you in the first half, playing injured today, the outstanding middle linebacker for Kentucky. So it's first down at the 25-yard line of the Wildcats.
Well, these Kentucky defensive players, we feel a little bit like those guys at the Alamo. You know, I mean, we may not win this one, but we're going to let them know they're in a fight, and they certainly are doing a great job of that. They're staying close. Obviously, a tied football game. Anything can happen.
Moore knocked down at the 21-yard line. Good open field play made by the weak side linebacker Billy Swanson, 84.
In another good job underneath in the secondary by Bill Campbell, the redshirt freshman that's playing for Larry Jackson. He wanted Pickens in the corner. Campbell was doing a good job underneath and forced Kelly to throw it short.
Double tight ends in there for Tennessee. Second down, 7 up to 22 of the Wildcats. Kentucky tried to come after him. Good protection by the Tennessee line, but the pass intended for Harper goes incomplete.
Once again, Gary Willis out there man-to-man on Harper. Harper kind of limping back to the huddle. Gary Willis had some lonely moments last week against Florida. And they turned them loose, turned that blitz loose, and too often it didn't get there, which left that poor young man and Sterling Ward on an island. And did a nice job most of the afternoon, but all it takes is a couple of times to be standing in your end zone with somebody else, and he's got the ball.
Third down, 7. Kelly took a lot of time in the end zone. Morgan, touchdown, Tennessee. Now that's confidence. It was third down, 7. Kelly went for everything in the end zone. Kentucky had the extra defensive back in there. 24, Adrian Sherwood.
tell you what happened on that one, Larry News. You see Larry News excited. Had a young true freshman in there at cornerback. Just didn't get enough depth. Willis was back to help on the inside, and the true freshman didn't get enough depth. That's all.
Burton gets the point after, and Tennessee has the lead for the first time today, 28-21. So in the third quarter, Tennessee has exploded for 2 touchdowns here in less than 5 minutes of the third quarter.
Here you see Anthony Morgan here on the outside, and he's going to come down and just run a little corner route. You have 2 defensive backs here, and they're just supposed to keep him in the vice here. The idea is, and the young freshman on the outside just lets Morgan motor past him. Willis hanging on for the inside move, and Morgan makes the catch. No problem. Yo-ho, ho-ho.
Anthony Morgan's second touchdown reception of the year only. He's a backup. He's an outstanding receiver.
He led the SEC in kickoff returns in '88. Just a lot of speed.
The third hop goes awry for Kentucky. It's collected off the 15-yard line. I've got a few seconds. The man with it, Keith Williams, number 3 at the 20. Well, an opportunity for the wheels to come off of Bill Curry's Wildcats here. Let's see if they can hold on in front of this now fired-up crowd at Neyland Stadium, trailing 28-21.
Well, all this doesn't change the fact that they've been running the football. All this doesn't change the fact that they've been able to move the ball on the ground. Now, Curry is trying to talk to that defense. He doesn't want them to lay down. He doesn't want to have happen what you just mentioned, Bob, just to totally come apart.
Hoffman hands it off to Terry Samuel. Powerful runner out to the 25. Here's the Tennessee scoring drive. A little more difficult, minute and a half this time. 47 yards in 7 plays. And on a 3rd down 7, Kelly went into the end zone to Morgan.
Just a good read and a good decision by the young quarterback from Dayton, Tennessee. And that's what he's been doing right the last 4 weeks. He's been making those good decisions. He's been protecting the football. Had some plethora, as our father would say, of interceptions early in the year, but he'll settle down now and making good decisions.
Hand off to Baker. Driving close to the first down, out across the 30. Dwayne Dotson with a stop. Let's check in with Ron Thulin in it. So Baylor out in front of Texas. That's a bit of a surprise to yours truly.
Who actually picked Texas?
I thought that Texas did well. The game's not over. Let's hold on. Kelly with 4 TD passes. You saw the ground. That's the record. Here's Hoffman. Here as he throws. Grabbed by Neil Clark. What a play. Now penalty marker is down in the Kentucky backfield at the point of the hit on the quarterback. Gain of 21 yards. The pressure came from Chuck Smith. They're going to call holding on Kentucky. Oh, my.
What a great job by Hockman. You have to admire this effort of hanging in there. I mean, you had Chuck Smith coming out around the outside, about ready to bury him, and he zips it down there in between 3 volunteers, and Clark makes a catch.
Holding. Offense. First down.
Hockman came in place of Freddie Maggard, who had separated his shoulder earlier, hurt it again in practice, and then hurt it again in this ball game.
Moore 75. I guess they call 65 Bradley, but Hockman drills it right in there, just out of the reach of everybody from Tennessee. Beautiful throw. Good call by the official.
First down 20. Here's the draw to Baker. A tough 3.5 yards. Ernest Fields with his 7th tackle of the day.
Ernest Fields having an all-SEC caliber season for Tennessee. Was named in 1988 as a freshman All-American. And he has become the leader in that defense. Only one of those guys back there is a senior, Mark Moore, number 74. The rest of them are going to be back next year.
Fields is little for a linebacker, 5'10", 230. Second down, 16. Hoffman with pressure again. It's picked off by Dale Carter. Touchdown, Tennessee! A 41-yard return on the pickoff by Carter. His 5th interception of the year. can turn. Just a moment ago, it was a courageous first down pass completion from Hockman to Neil Clark, the holding call, then the interception. PAT is good. It's 35-21, Tennessee. 8:35 to go, third quarter.
Okay, let's look at that touchdown, Bob. You got J.J. McCluskey down here, Roderick Lewis here, and Carter's back. He's backing these two guys up. These guys are in and out on this pair right here. As the play develops, Hockman ends up, because of the pressure, overthrowing this pass. Gets somebody in his face, it clouds his vision, lifts it up high. Now watch, McCluskey gets a good block there on Logan. Logan's a sore right shoulder, can't make it. Lahr can't get there in time, and Dale Carter into the end zone. Touchdown.
With the Tim Foley dedicated dance. Carter with an outstanding day today. No question about his athletic play. He has been a thorn in the side of Kentucky. He has a kickoff return. Look at it, 230 total yards, 69-yard kickoff return, 29-yard punt return, now a 41-yard interception return. And that's all happened in 6.5 minutes here in the third quarter. Chapman set to kick off for Tennessee. Kurt Johnson is told to the back for the Wildcats. Johnson at the 11. He's got a seam. Big hit. Drove Johnson out here to the 38. David Bennett implanted his jersey number. I think we can even hear this. Let's listen again. What you really heard was the ooh. Everybody got the wind knocked out of them. From the 37.5-yard line, first down Kentucky. Trailing 35-21. It was 21-14 at halftime, Kentucky. Tennessee with some pressure on Hockman. As Phillips open, big play down to the Tennessee 40-yard line. That was a completion of 22 yards. Hockman now 10 of 16 for 90 yards passing, has a TD and an interception on the afternoon.
You gotta like the way he comes back in there, steps up and fires it right down the middle. Good job by the offensive line that time. Bradley and Lahr driving that on-rushing Smith and Mims around him. Hockman steps up and pow down the middle.
8 minutes to go, third quarter. First down, Kentucky at the 41 of Tennessee. Baker wants to take it to the right side. Got a good block out there by Samuel, and an outstanding run by Baker close to a first down. Well executed play on the part of Kentucky. Samuel sprung him for the first little bit, and then some nice moves by Al Baker, and Baker has 78 yards on the day.
And this is a characteristic that Bill Curry wants to develop in this football team. Get back up off the mat. Fight back. We're not dead. Still time left on the clock. John Major would wish these guys would go away. Let's get this over with. Get on to next week.
In most stadiums, the wave is just a wave. At Neyland Stadium, it's a tidal wave. 85,000. That's what's happening right now. Looks like somebody moved on the part of Kentucky down there.
Dead ball fall. False start. Offense, white guard move.
Chuck Bradley is the right tackle, 65.
I see Bill Curry standing next to Walter Lewis, former great quarterback at Alabama, as Hockman brings the Wildcats to the line of scrimmage.
5 penalties on Kentucky today for losses of 83 yards. And second down, 6. Samuel tries inside. Nothing happening there. He's yanked down hard at the 36-yard line.
Tommy Bowden tried to trap that blitz, try to pop it through there. If Samuels could have slid through that hole, could have gone a long way. Good job by Ernest Fields. The ubiquitous Ernest Fields.
tackles today for Ernest Fields. He's the team leader, had 106 coming into this game. 3rd and 5, big conversion here for the Wildcats. Hockman throwing on the run. Big catch by Rodney Jackson for the first down. He was hit by Carter. It's a first down, Kentucky. Jackson's made a couple of big catches today.
That's it. We're seeing more animation from Curry this year, I think, here at Kentucky. Look at Hockman. Step up. Just gets it off before Mark Moore takes him down. And Jackson takes a lick, but makes the catch.
Kept on ticking. What is that? First down, 10. From 29. They gave it to Baker. What a great fake. I couldn't tell if it was a play fake or not. Baker got 6 or 7 on that. Hockman did a great job of carrying through the act after he put it in the belly of number 5.
Hampered by a knee injury and an ankle injury early in his career. He's just rolling along on the ground.
Beautiful view of Neyland Stadium, the University of Tennessee campus, the dome you saw there in the background from the World's Fair here in Knoxville several years ago. 2nd down, 5 from the 24-yard line. There's the fake. And the pass almost picked off. It was intended for Logan. Floyd Miley came up there. The ball got there just a tad late, or Miley got there early, however you want to look at that.
This is one of the first times all day that Hockman's been late. Logan is early. He's got it early. He doesn't decide to throw it till late. That gave Miley time to react. So the youngster from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Boyd Anderson High School, got there in time.
3rd down and a short 5 for Kentucky. Tennessee's coming after him. They try the draw. Baker ran into his own man. Almost popped it on the blitz, but almost doesn't count. Ernest Fields finishes him off, and this is going to be a field goal attempt probably.
As you pointed out, Bob, he'll run right into 65, Chuck Bradley. Good job of picking up the blitz by the center, Matt Branham, and Bradley working to keep somebody off him. I guess that looks like Casey Rogers there.
It's Bradley's first tackle of the day.
Right.
Pelfrey will try a 42-yard field goal. Remember, they faked this once for a touchdown pass. He hit a 46 earlier, or he attempted a 46 and had it blocked by McCray. That was a low snap that time. They're faking it again. I don't believe it. And there should be a flag. I don't see a flag, but we have the interception. There was interference on the play, but no flag went onto the ground. And the interception, and Tennessee will bring it out to the 20. Well, I saw interference.
No question about it. Tight ends down the field.
They say this was incidental contact. It certainly doesn't appear that way to me. Tennessee leads 35-21 on the fake field goal, the pickoff in the end zone by Tennessee.
Okay, what you're going to see here is what Bob was talking about is this man right down here running down the field. Carter makes a break on the ball and trips him up. The man that they're actually throwing to is here. Fields drops back with him and makes the play on the football. Another good throw by Steve Phillips. They fake it again. Whoops. The ball is thrown.
Well, the receiver was definitely tripped. Whether it was incidental or not is, of course, what the officials will say. There's Phillips, the left-hander, going out that way.
Rolls to his right, throws back to his left. And Ernest Fields does his job. Stays with Rodney Jackson all the way to the goal line. So along with his 9 tackles, he now has an interception.
That's 4 interceptions on the year for him. A couple of yards on this carry for Tennessee's Tony Thompson. Thompson having trouble getting much yardage today. He has 11 carries and only 30 yards. So it's 35-21. Tennessee coming from behind. They trailed 21-14 coming into this period.
Tennessee 15 yards rushing. Now that's amazing. 12 yards in the first half. 2 yards in the first half on 12 attempts.
Kelly pumps short, throws long, complete. to the 49 to Carl Pickens. He pumped the defender off the receiver, a gain of 25.
If you're a defensive back and you read this move, you've got to stay in front of the receiver. So if he's going to take off, he's got to run through you. Of course, Bill Campbell can take solace in the fact that he won't run into anybody much better than Carl Pickens.
On the first down now, Thompson has a big opening this time. Now Thompson has his biggest run of the day to the 32-yard line. This Tennessee offense starting to take its toll on the thin Kentucky defense.
Got Baird on that side, and Antone Davis gets the cutoff block there. You see him holding out that defensive lineman, and here goes Tony Thompson. Sterling Ward drags him out of bounds. Tony Thompson gives you everything he has on every play. Stepped in for the injured Chuck Webb, and he's leading the SEC in rushing.
Nothing happening on that first down call. Roland Poles, the ball carrier. So Thompson now has 50 yards, 49 yards, and he's getting close to the 1,000-yard mark in this ball game. He came in the season, he came in with 946. So we'll track him. 1,000-yard rusher in college football, still something to behold.
4 yards away. It's happened 4 times before here, twice by Johnny Jones, 83 and 84, and then by Cobb and Webb.
Came in underneath the coverage after the other receivers had taken the Kentucky defenders deep. He gets the first down on the run after the catch. Sherwood with the tackle.
Well, they had hit the touchdown in there earlier on this same route. That time Sherwood, good depth with Willis. Made him throw it short. Moore, who is exciting after the catch, heads upfield. Now look at that. I mean, that's plenty of room there to get it off. Couch fighting hard. Jim Graves, a backup end, fighting hard. But that's just a hard group of guys to get through.
On first down 10. He was looking for number 81, Alvin Harper. Good coverage by freshman Don Robinson. Kelly threw it out of bounds and incomplete.
Rick Smith, who is the secondary coach of Kentucky, starts to smile when he talks about Don Robinson, number 38, and Adrian Sherwood. They're both true freshmen. They're probably playing earlier than they should, but they've got such outstanding ability. Robinson from Richmond, Virginia, he was a state high jump champ, so he can stick with Carl Pickens, who is also a state high jump champ.
Second down 10 from the 21-yard line. Tennessee leading 35-21. Kelly can't get it straight. We'll call it timeout. He just couldn't get his instructions clear to tight end Mark Adams. Here comes the sideline. 2:03 to go, third quarter. Randy Kelly came into the game with 7 touchdown passes, now has 11 because he had 4 today, which ties a Tennessee school record.
Asking Johnny Majors what he does best, he says lead the team. And he's kind of a Bob Greasy type of quarterback. Not a real strong arm. No outstanding attribute besides his character and his knowledge of the game. He gets them in the right play, into the right protection, and very rarely does dangerous things with the football. Exactly the kind of quarterback that you want when you've got weapons like Thompson, Pickens, and Harper, and all those guys.
Well, our regular season finale next week could have a bearing on the tickets to Sanford Stadium, only about 50 miles east of Atlanta.
I'm not sure when the last time Georgia Tech was favored in that game. Get Hal Galima working on that. Hal, down in the booth, look that one up. Do they keep records of that?
You see, Tony leads the SEC in rushing. Baker is 5th, and that's updated with today's numbers. 995 yards. Kelly short hops it to Vince Moore on the second down and 10. But remember, Tennessee had it 3rd down and 7 down here in this area before. Matter of fact, it was at the 22-yard line, and Kelly took it into the end zone.
Yeah, and both Harper and Carl Pickens are state high jump champions. Even in the SEC in the outdoor meet last year, Harper finished 4th with a jump of, let's see, in the outdoors he was 7 feet 1/4 inches, in the indoors 7 feet 2.5 inches. The other guy did 6'11". That's higher than most normal people can jump.
Throw it up high in the end zone. Kelly. It's picked off. Will they rule it an interception? Yes. A big pick by Adrian Sherwood covering Carl Pickens. It's down at the 2, but it nullifies a Tennessee scoring opportunity. Couldn't tell whether he caught that out of bounds or not. There's that true freshman Tim was telling you about him from Texas City, Texas.
Let's look at it here from the end zone. Kelly makes a decision to go to the weak side. He looked off the free safety, but hey, who is that there sticking close to Carl Pickens? It's Adrian Sherwood. Pickens tried to drive him off to the inside, but then Sherwood had a great break back on the ball.
Well, of course, now Kentucky gets to line up in the Tennessee end zone at the enclosed end of this stadium, the double-deck enclosed. It's closed both sides. There's Sherwood. There you see what Kentucky's having to face in terms of crowd noise and distractions. Baker. Maybe a yard, not much more on the right side. Trying to run behind Bradley and Mazzella over there.
Okay, let's look at this now, this interception. Here you see Adrian Sherwood. Now, he had been victimized earlier in the game, and he's lining up against one of the best wide receivers in the country. His heart's got to be beating a little fast, but look at his feet. Good settle now. He's not going to let him drive him off to the inside. He sat down, breaks on the ball, and makes a great catch.
1 yard on the first play, second down 9 from the 3-yard line. And it's tipped off by Ernest Fields. It hit Jackson, came up into the air, and Fields gets his second interception of the day.
Jeremy Lincoln nailed him. Somebody caught him just as he was catching the ball. Tough break here. Gutty call by Tommy Bowden. Hockman rolls to his right, finds Jackson. And the bang is put on. I think that's Jeremy Lincoln. A good stick by Lincoln. The ball pops in the air. Ernest Fields has his second interception of the day, and Tennessee knocking on the door again.
Jackson has taken a pounding today. Tennessee jumping offside over on the right side. Looked like Mike Rapine, the tight end, moved the outside lineman.
Another turnover for Tennessee.
There's our fall. False start. Offense.
As they increase their lead in the SEC in turnover ratio.
Minute 3 to go, third quarter. It's Tennessee 35-21. Kentucky led it 21-14 coming into this quarter. Johnny Majors with one of his more inspirational halftime attitude adjustments. On a first and 15, Thompson, only 2 or 3 yards. Campbell with a stop. Well, Ernest Fields, what a day. He's had 2 interceptions and 12 tackles.
Your mom is watching, Ernest, and I know she's proud of you from Milan, Tennessee. Came to Tennessee as a running back. But they're glad they moved him over onto the other side of the ball.
You know, the officials are officially calling that a fumble recovery instead of an interception. So we'll give him 1 fumble recovery and 1 interception. Less than half a minute to go in the third quarter. Thompson doesn't get the first down at the 16. Holleran makes the stop.
And Bill Glazier, who's been at Kentucky for 14 seasons, he coaches that interior line. He's got to be proud of his guys. Shuford and Couch, Zane Bean, just a true freshman, Derek Thomas, they're just flying all over the place in there. They're hanging in there. And this artificial surface is hard to hold on to the roots, you know, but they're doing it.
That's the end of the third quarter. It's been all Tennessee in this period, and they've regained the lead. Ball game, Tennessee in front 35-21. Here's Craig Sager.
Well, thank you, Bob. This is the Remembrance Quilt, a project conceived by Karen Jenkins with the support of Dolly Parton and Dollywood. Signatures have been obtained from all 50 states and 6 countries. Tomorrow will be presented to the 134th Refueling Group at McGee Tyson Air Base and then sent to our troops in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if anybody will ever sleep on it, but I guarantee you it'll warm the hearts of many. Bob?
Thank you, Craig Sager. Token of remembrance to the thousands of American troops in the Middle East.
Greg was with me watching film yesterday, and we were in there late, and we got locked in.
Craig will learn not to stay late with you.
We had to break out of this place, climb over this picket fence, escape into the night.
Tim, one more reel of film forward. First down 14. Kelly into the end zone. Incomplete. There was some bumping down there. Don Robinson covering Alvin Harper. Tennessee fans wanted a flag. None coming.
Now watch this. You've got a true freshman, Don Robinson, out of Richmond, Virginia, and he's man-to-man on Alvin Harper. Caught 100 for Tennessee. Could go #1 in the draft. Look at, he's sticking right with him. He just kind of nudging him a little bit. You know, nothing. That's inconsequential. No blood.
Here's Greg Burke to attempt the field goal. It'll be approximately a 34-yarder from the right side. He's not going to get it. It hooks wide to the left side. Tennessee continued as the lead, 35-21 with 14:51 to go in this. In 1956, well, if you guessed Johnny Majors, you're wrong. It was Elvis Presley, but Johnny was second. 155 pounds, soaking wet, All-American, elusive tailback, Heisman Trophy runner-up to Paul Hornung, and he led the Vols to the 1956 SEC Championship, and a handsome young man he was. If he'd had the long hair of Elvis Presley, Johnny might have edged him, and he's going for his 100th victory today, leading 35-21.
Been in football a long time. Of course, his dad, a famous coach here in Tennessee. And John Majors hasn't lost his zest or enthusiasm for what he's doing. When he talks, he's still as animated as he ever has been, still as involved as he ever has been.
First down, Kentucky, after Greg Burke missed the field goal attempt. Hoffman down at the 13 or 14-yard line. The last 3 possessions for Kentucky have been disasters. 2 interceptions and a fumble.
Trying to go with a no huddle now to try to catch this Tennessee group off balance, trying to keep them from substituting defensive backs.
Second down, 17. Hoffman throwing under pressure, and it's complete to Logan, who is short of the first down by 2 or 3 yards. He tried to make a turn to the outside. Tennessee surrounded him there. Dale Carter made the stop. You see Logan holding his shoulder. He came into the game with an injury. He's hurt again.
Came into the game with a separated shoulder, and you can have all the heart you want to. He's a senior. This is his last game, but that's a painful injury, and that you saw him pull his right arm back, and that's the bad shoulder. Phil Logan had a splendid career at UK.
On third down 2, Hoffman's going to dive forward and get the first down for Kentucky. Freddie Maggard, the starting quarterback, went out with a separated shoulder. Working on Logan on the sideline now, and Hoffman's done a good job filling in. A lot of injuries on this Kentucky team. They're thin. That means it's kind of a catch-22. When you don't have good depth, you have to play the starters more, giving them more opportunity to get injured. So a lot of them are playing hurt here today, late in the season. Short of the first down. It looked to me as though Hoffman had got plenty for it. It is 4th down. And Hawk is in to punt again. Dale Carter had a 29-yard punt return last time. Fair catch called for it. It drives Carter all the way back to the 21-yard line. Another outstanding job. 50-yard punt that. 35-21 Tennessee. The 50-yard punt from Hawk, and the Volunteers will have it at their own 20. Tuesday night on TNT, our sister network, a rematch of last year's Western Conference finalists in the NBA. The Phoenix Suns will travel to Portland to meet the red-hot Trailblazers at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on your home for NBA action, TNT. And, of course, you're watching today's game on Tennessee Bound for Sugar, TBS, according to that site. Tennessee needs to beat Kentucky and beat Vanderbilt to finish no worse than a tie for the SEC championship with Auburn if Auburn beats Alabama. And because Tennessee would probably be ranked higher in the national polls, it would send the Volunteers to the Sugar Bowl as the SEC representative.
And Tony Thompson just got a few yards farther away from his 1,000. Lost a couple there. Good play by Jerry Bell. Excellent penetration. He's playing in there for Brad Shuford right now.
Second down, 15. Crowd very quiet today. Good moments for Fish Raucous. Incomplete, intended for Pickens, and let's go to Ron Poulin. Well, Michigan winning at Ohio State.
How about that? That makes you happy. I tell you, you talk about thin. Billy Swanson was playing in the defensive line that time. He's a linebacker trying to give Couch a little rest.
Kelly under some pressure, grabbed from behind, and down back here near the line of scrimmage. Zane Bean came back in there to make the play on it. And it'll bring up fourth down. Tennessee has to get rid of the ball. Kentucky hanging in here at 35-21. Kentucky has not scored in the second half. They had a 21-7 lead at one time.
But they've taken the teeth out of Tennessee ground attack, which only one team has done all year.
Colbert. Excellent coverage by Tennessee. Colbert's down at the 45. And Johnny Major said he expected more out of the special teams in the second half. We had no idea how much more he expected. Tennessee leading at 35-21, 11:34 to go in the ball game. Kentucky ball, first down 10 at their own 45. 3 of the last 4 possessions, Kentucky's turned it over. Couldn't find anybody. The pocket caves in, and Todd Kelly hauls him down. A loss of 8 yards. That's the 3rd Tennessee sack of the day.
Another fine job of coverage by the Tennessee secondary. Hockman has no place to go with it. Just about when he's ready to unload it, Todd Kelly couples up with him.
First down, sits down at the 45 of Tennessee. Threw it in double coverage, looking for Steve Phillips. Really threw it away.
I think you're right. I think he threw it out of bounds, and it's a good thing he did, because Kelly was coming around the corner again. Good pass rusher. 4 sacks on the year. It's unfortunate that Kentucky slipped behind. Of course, not if you're a Tennessee fan, but from our vantage point, because they were running the ball so well against Tennessee, and being down by 14 has caused them to have to throw it.
On third down, 14. It is complete to Phil Logan, who came in, separated shoulder and all, and returned to action. He gets the first down grab. McCleskey with the tackle, a gain of 25 yards.
So Phil Logan, let's watch. Well, good catch, quick huddle. We can't give you a replay, but fired it down the middle. The throw by Hockman.
Incomplete at the 40-yard line, intended for Terry Samuels.
The area that they're looking for is right in here. They're trying to get a first down, maintain possession of the football. You'll see these Tennessee players kind of zoning up man-to-man. Dotson is back in this area, supposed to be responsible for that short middle. Watch him drop back into that zone, read the quarterback. By the time he reacts to the football, it's a completion. Good read by Hockman.
Here's the draw to Baker. Some running room through the 35-yard line, close to the first down. Looks like he'll be about a yard or a half a yard short. Ernest Fields was there again. We talked about the matchup at the beginning of the game, the running backs against the linebackers. It has been a real one-on-one with Fields and Baker often here today.
Actually, we said Al Baker and Ernest Fields. They're going to know each other after this one's over, both playing superbly.
Third down, a long one. Samuels dives forward. And I'm not going to call the first down like I did last time when Hockman dived for it, because Hockman, after he got up, they moved it back about a yard. So let's see where it's spotted. Now it's a first down. That's what Bill Curry was saying. I'll wait till I see the call. Last game of the year for Kentucky. 3 SEC wins for the Wildcats this year.
Actually, they have a chance to win more games in the SEC than any team since '76.
First down at the 33-yard line of Tennessee, trailing by 2 touchdowns, 35-21. Plenty of time left in this ball game, however. Hoffman completes to Logan again. And it's down here at the 23, close to another first down. And Logan having a great final game for the University of Kentucky.
And a superb final year. He led the Wildcats last year with 28 catches, and coming into this game, he had 31 for 495 yards and 2 TDs. And he's also provided some senior leadership for him in there.
Second down, less than a yard. Hoffman gives it to Samuels. Steps over that line that was up tight and gets it to the 15. Kentucky running game. Tim, once again at the beginning of the game, we said, folks, if you haven't seen Kentucky, they do have a good running game. Don't judge it on the performance against Florida last week. We have seen it here today.
We have, and this line is firing off the ball, and Terry Samuels in time, a redshirt freshman, he's going to develop into a powerful running back as he gives his own guy, Matt Branham, a little bump out of the way. Good job by that front line of the Wildcats.
First and 10 at the 15 of Tennessee. Quick handoff to Samuels again. Right into the 4-yard line. That's another Kentucky first down. Fields got the tackle that time along with Dale Carter. Now Samuels looks like he's shaken up on the play.
Let's look at it from the end zone here. Mazzella blocking down. A quick trap there by Todd Perry. Opens it up. Lewis and Carter there to corral Samuels. The way to play Tennessee is to run right at them. They've got a lot of speed. But straight ahead, they haven't been as strong as Larry Lacewell would like them to be this year.
This is going to be first down goal from the 4-yard line for Kentucky. They call timeout. Hoffman comes over to talk to Bill Curry, and Johnny Majors has. Well, that could certainly hurt Detmer's Heisman chances. There's Tommy Limbaugh.
Tommy Limbaugh, the recruiting coordinator for Kentucky, tight end coach, assistant athletic director at Alabama for the last 3 years, and a longtime associate of Steve Sloan.
First and goal from the 4. Kentucky called the timeout. Let's see what they decided on the sidelines. Baker cuts against the grain, stopped at the 4.
Remember, Tennessee has only allowed 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 against Notre Dame. The third one happened earlier in this game. They are tough down inside the 3 on the ground. Try to fire it off. Mims, number 93, making penetration down the line. Dwayne Dotson getting there, and Ernest Fields, of course. I think I would find Ernest. Ernest, will you hold your hand up? We're going to run the other way.
My, look at that. They've not scored more than 27 since the first game of this series against Tennessee. Touchdown here would be historical. Baker wants to throw it. Too much pressure on him. They were knocking Baker down at the point he had the ball to throw the halfback option pass. That's an unbelievable statistic. How Galima came up with again. Only 27 points, the most Kentucky's ever scored against Tennessee.
Good call, and good defense by Tennessee. They got me with this for my whole career. They get me with this play. I mean, they could tell me it's coming. They'd still get me with that play.
You could taste the raw meat of that back of the ball. You're coming up, right?
All right. But great play by Tennessee secondary.
Third down for Clark in motion. Hoffman. Incomplete. He had no time. Wanted Logan. Now, we have 7:42 to go in the game. You're down 2 touchdowns. It's 4th down goal at the 4. You kick it?
No. No, you don't kick it. You got to go.
And they're going to.
You got to go. Go for 1. Keep it close. Bill Curry got some input here. Tommy Bowden on the phone with Darrell Dickey. Into Limbaugh. Limbaugh sends the play in. Tennessee's going to be coming after him.
Golden Logan out on the left side. Hoffman wasn't sure of the call, and the clock was running. He didn't have any time to get anything in the way, so he called the time. You see behind the attractive cheerleader, the beer barrel. You can look that far past. And that's what they're playing for here today. It'll be 4th down goal from the 4 after the Kentucky timeout. Coach Foley What's our call here?
Well, they spent a lot of time conferring. We've seen a run in this situation. One thing's for sure, Hockman's got to move. They're going to be blitzing.
With a shotgun. A play fake. Touchdown, Kentucky, to Phil Logan. How appropriate with the courageous job he's done today. Kentucky has now tied the most points they've ever scored against Tennessee since the series began, and the point after here would break that record. The most points Kentucky's ever scored against Tennessee. Pelfrey for the point after. We have 7:37 to go in this ballgame. Kentucky has really put on an entertaining and courageous show here today. That's the 28th point, the most Kentucky ever scored on the Volunteers. Logan just having himself an exceptional afternoon. 6 catches, 2 touchdowns.
What you're going to see here is they do it from the bootleg here. They're faking the boot here. They're dragging tight end this way, and then Logan is just man-to-man. Lincoln sitting hard inside. When the quarterback rolls out, shortens the amount of distance between these two folks, and he just zips it in there. Lincoln not in a bad spot, but the quarterback coming that way has to expect to break to the outside. Trying to point, say that he's out of bounds. What else could he say? Drop the ball. Good hustle by Todd Perry, offensive lineman for Kentucky, number 68 there, getting out in front to shield Hockman. Gave him the time. And the Kentucky brain trust that Dickey and Bowden and Curry and Limbaugh and all those rascals came up with the right play. Touchdown.
Didn't we say bootleg left, grab the tight end, and throw it to Logan? Wasn't that what we wanted him to do?
Yeah, I think you mentioned that, actually.
In the timeout.
Yes, I think you were talking about that. But, you know, you got to do it on air the first time. You got to lay it out there, Bob.
I can't say I called
risk it, you know?
I can't say I called it. That doesn't count. Pelfrey with the kickoff now.
What a great game, though. What a fantastic effort by Kentucky, and Tennessee, of course, fighting back valiantly, taking the lead. But it's not over yet.
They were trying to keep it away from Carter, but he got it anyway. Carter out to the 32 this time. Carter's had a 69-yard kickoff return, a 29-yard punt return, a 41-yard interception return. There's that scoring drive, effective. 3:57 on the clock, 55 yards, 13 plays, and 4th down. Touchdown pass to Logan.
And that drive resembles more what was going on in the first quarter. Little play action, little throw down the middle. They had a nice 3rd down conversion. Hockman drilled Logan on it, and good drive.
Tossed out to Pickens. Oh, he's dangerous out here. But the only thing you can do is use the sideline as your friend. 1st down, Tennessee to the 44. That was the second 4th down touchdown by Kentucky today, if you count that fake field goal, which we will, of course, count.
John Majors looking at the clock. Keep ticking, baby. 7:25, up by 7.
Pickens, 5 yards this time, right to the 50-yard line. Sterling Ward with the tackle. 7:17 to go in the game. Tennessee up by a touchdown, 35-28.
They're throwing the ball back into the sideline. In a sense, it's a no-risk pass. Sterling Ward has lined up a good 10 yards off Pickens. He can't get there. They've got to give him some undercover help, or what's going to happen is Sterling is going to have to start biting that thing, and if that happens, of course, then Pickens goes for the big one. This time they move Campbell over there to give him a little bit of help.
Thompson, a couple of yards, and that's all. Bill Campbell came up to stop Thompson. He's still looking for his 1,000th yard on the year. He's 5 yards short of that.
And he's got all next week to get it, so there's no real rush. Probably like to get it over with.
3rd down, 2. Completes it for the 1st down. Pickens stuck that ball out there like he's going to hand it off. Could have handed it off to a guy in a white jersey. Nevertheless, it's first down for Tennessee at the 44-yard line.
Well, it doesn't really matter how many guys are over there, because Bill Campbell is right in Pickens' face. Actually, you know, Kelly is a little tentative here because he's not sure he should let it go with Campbell there. He's trying to get the ball across the first down marker. I think that's what he was thinking, but he almost handed it to somebody from Kentucky.
Yeah, handoff to Joey Couch. First and 10, Tennessee. Leading by 7. Pickens, what a day, 164 yards. He's having a bigger day than Phil Logan, who's having a similar day for Kentucky. Here's Pickens again to the 32-yard line before Ward calls him down.
Well, Andy Kelly certainly isn't worried about throwing it inside. Fires this one over the middle of Pickens. One of the things that you notice about Pickens, you see the face mask call there.
Face mask. Defense.
One of the things you notice, look at this throw here. Kelly really sticks it in before Billy Swanson can get there, before Campbell can jam, and Pickens starts his way across the field. Sterling Ward finally pulls him down. I guess they called it on Gary Willis, but it seemed like he was down already.
Tony Thompson is down at the 26-yard line. Tony Thompson now 3 yards away from the 1,000-yard mark on the season with 5 minutes, 2 seconds remaining in the game. Bill Curry patrolling the sidelines in front of the men in white. Johnny Majors doing likewise on the side of the orange. Second down 8. Pickens again is there. They didn't get him out of bounds that time. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Let's watch him work. Boom. Dangerous with the football. Contain him. Force him inside. I don't know if we got a better look there. It's hard to see. I guess he stayed in bounds. The Fisher was right there. Great effort by Carl Pickens. Let's see it from this angle here. Just a little quick pop, blitz. Breaks down, make the tackle, grab something.
That was close, but looked like he stayed in. One of the Kentucky players is injured and down on the field on about the 28-yard line.
Zane Bean.
Bill Curry out there, the head coach and the trainers for the Wildcats. Bean sitting up now, and it is 41-28 Tennessee with 4:38 to go in the ball game. Pickens with 3 touchdown catches on the day.
And he'll be a Heisman candidate. You know, the job that Bud Ford does here, they're going to get his name around the country, and they throw the ball to him a lot. And actually what happens is if you don't take a man out of your run defense to help on him, they just pop it to him. If you do take a man out of your run defense, well, you're outmanned in the running game, and they'll run the ball up inside.
Greg Burke for the point after. It's good. Tennessee 42, Kentucky 28 with 4:38 to go in the ball game. And stay with us. Kentucky's been effective. He's having a whale of a day. He came into the game with 40 receptions. He just caught his 3rd touchdown pass, and Tennessee's out in front 42-28 with 4:38 remaining.
Pickens still works a little bit every week on defense, but the emergence of Dale Carter back there has really limited his exposure on defense this year.
Here's Colbert at the 15. He had a seam for a moment down at the 33-yard line. Here's the Tennessee scoring drive. It was Kelly to Pickens and Kelly to Pickens and Kelly to Pickens.
And that's what they were doing, just picking and picking and picking and picking at Kentucky, and finally he broke through.
They were clogging, too, I think. And singing, picking and singing.
That would be great if Andy Kelly's name was Singing. We could change that. We could change that.
Call the marketing department. 4:33 to go in the game. The handoff to Baker. Baker's been stymied here in the second half after having an outstanding first half. He's still getting up close to 100 yards, though. 95 yards on the day for Al Baker. Again, trailing, Kentucky hadn't been able to go to him as much as they would like to have today. Once Tennessee had that explosive third quarter. This will be second down 10. Hockman has done an admirable job filling in for the injured Freddie Maggard at quarterback for the Wildcats. Now he's going deep, but nobody's down there except Tennessee. Floyd Miley. Penalty markers are down. Miley's down at the 35. Three interceptions today for Tennessee.
On the run back. They got their signals crossed there. Bob Hockman thinking that Logan was breaking it to the outside, and he stayed inside. So he lofted it out there, and Floyd Miley was back there to make the catch. Clip on the run back. First down 10.
That's authoritative. I believe that was a clip the way Rom Gilbert told us. They put it back to the 14-yard line where it'll be Tennessee ball. 3:46 to go in the ball game. Tennessee's done a good job taking care of the football today. They lead the conference in turnover ratio by a large margin, plus 17 coming into today's game. Now Tennessee will run the ball. Tony Thompson crosses the 15 to the 16. Holleran makes the stop.
It's been an interesting year emotionally for John Majors as you look at that defense. You guys shouldn't be all that excited.
Not giving up.
Wait till film day. Now, Ernest, you can smile. Dale Carter, you can smile. But the rest of you guys, you may be in trouble.
The most points Kentucky has ever scored on Tennessee in the almost forever series, a third oldest series, the 86 meeting. Second down 8. Thompson looking for his 1,000 yards on the season. He's going to have it and a lot more. Out to the 30-yard line, and that's the carry that gives him over 1,000. Couch tripped him up. And Tony Thompson's going to join a select group. Johnny Jones, Reggie Cobb, and Chuck Webb as 1,000-yard backs in a season for Tennessee.
Derek Thompson just gets locked up at Tennessee tight end, and Thompson pops it up the middle. Thompson has done a fantastic job this year, but there aren't too many guys that can run like Chuck Webb.
Billy Swanson, I think that's, yes, Billy Swanson is down for Kentucky. The weak side linebacker down there at the 18. They're looking him over. Bill Curry is always out there. The head coach gets out on the field when a player goes down, and he's had to do that, unfortunately, quite a few times this year. It's been a day of records for Tennessee. One of them for Kelly, 5 touchdown passes. That's a new school record. Pickens 3 receptions for TDs, ties a school record, and Carter's 210 total yards on kick returns, a new school record. What an offensive show that Tennessee has, and then they've got the big play defenders to go with it, and the special teams play from guys like Dale Carter.
That's quite a package, and it's hard to imagine somebody putting a bow as tight around it as Alabama did earlier in the year. To hold these guys to 6 points, you got to really credit Bill Oliver and his defense at Alabama. Tough group to hold down.
First down 10. Tennessee on the left side. About 3 yards this time out to the 34-yard line. I said it was the most said it was the most points Kentucky ever scored against Tennessee. I'm technically not exactly accurate. It's the most this century. There were more points scored in the first ever game in 1893. 42-28 Tennessee, 2:23 to go. There's Phil Logan, who's had himself an exceptional day with 6 catches and 2 touchdown receptions, playing his last game for Kentucky. Tennessee, with a win today and a win against Vanderbilt next week, can do no worse than tie for the SEC championship and will probably get the bid to go to the Sugar Bowl to represent the conference. Would be Tennessee's 10th SEC championship. They're able to go ahead and win the conference title. Of course, Alabama and Auburn hook it up next week. Tennessee plays Vanderbilt, their traditional rivalry. That's in Nashville. We'll have the Georgia Tech-Georgia game between the Hedges at Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia, at 12:30 Eastern Time on our final SEC telecast for 1990 next Saturday afternoon. Johnny Majors still coaching down there. Still very involved. 2:23 remaining in this ball game, and Tennessee out by 2 touchdowns. They were favored by 27, 28 points in this game. Kentucky's held in here very well.
Well, he's got to feel good about coming out with a victory. These kids, they can't be high every week. They came off Notre Dame, came off Ole Miss. They came into this game emotionally unprepared, and it's just that you can't get them up every week. It's just great when you can win when you're not up.
Tony Thompson just kind of picked his way out here near the 40-yard line. And Tennessee will now just keep it on the ground and run it out. Kentucky has only 1 timeout remaining in this ball game. The clock keeps ticking, under 2 minutes coming up here shortly.
You know, obviously you're never happy with a loss, but if you're Curry, you're proud of the way that your kids played against a good Tennessee football team away from home, banged up and knocked around with a substitute quarterback and a receiver running with one arm. You got to feel proud of the effort and hope that's a sign of good things to come.
Tony Thompson keeps on running like he's doing. Penalty markers everywhere. Could get up to 100 today. By the way, Kentucky cornerback Gary Willis had an extra reason to be thankful over the Thanksgiving holidays. Gary announced his engagement to Rebecca Prohaska of Gainesville, Florida, Wednesday. They're planning to get married next spring. Gary Willis, a junior from Gainesville.
From Gainesville, went to Buckholt High School down in Gainesville.
Well, Florida and Florida State are into secret practices, trying to figure out how Bobby Bowden can get a hold of Steve Spurrier's Gators. There's the happy bridegroom to be, Gary Willis. Fastest man on this Kentucky defensive squad. He needs to be out there on the corner with this Kentucky defense.
I don't want to contradict you, but I really feel like Adrian Sherwood's got to be a little bit faster than Gary Willis now. So
fastest starter.
You're right. That's good. That's good. I like that. And really Gary should be a safety. You know, they'll move him inside next year most probably and put Robinson and Sherwood to work on the outside. There you see Zane Bean, who got his first start of his young career, subbing for the injured Dean Wells. Let's hope he's feeling better.
Minute 15 remaining in the ball game. Tennessee 42, Kentucky 28. Chapman with the punt, not a very good one, but it takes a good Tennessee bounce. Tolbert's going to have to get away from it before it goes out of bounds at 35 with 57 seconds remaining in this game. And Tennessee's escaped with a victory, as Tim told you, on a day where they could have been upset. Bill Curry had these Wildcats very well prepared, and they played as well as they could play against Tennessee. Maggard, his starting quarterback, went out with his separated shoulder. Ryan Hockman came in, played very well, made some mistakes for a sophomore that you would expect, but played very well. Al Baker ran well, but when Tennessee exploded in the third quarter with special teams play and those great wide receivers, it forced Kentucky into having to play catch-up. Hockman goes down at the 26. They're just teeing off on him now. Shazon Bradley got him this time. Loss of 9, and Johnny Majors is only 42 seconds and counting away from his 100th career victory as a head football coach at Tennessee. Going to go to 11-3 against Kentucky. Clock still running. Here's the handoff to Mike Thompson. Out to the 35. Mike Thomas, excuse me. And that could be the last play of this ball game. Trailing by 2 touchdowns, Kentucky probably will not call the timeout here. Tennessee 42, Kentucky 28. A very courageous group of Kentucky football players today got out in front of Tennessee 21-7. Hockman's just going to throw it up for grabs down here. It is incomplete, and this ball game is over. But Tennessee exploded in the third quarter, and it's 42-28 Volunteers. Johnny Majors' 100th win at Tennessee. And Tennessee is one victory. They'll be heavily favored over Vanderbilt next week at Nashville, away from clinching no worse than a tie from the SEC championship. It would be their 10th. Bill Curry must feel proud of this Kentucky squad, undermanned all year, but they won 3 games in the Southeastern Conference.
And that's the best they've done since '84, as you see Tommy Limbaugh saying hi to John Majors. And one more win against Vanderbilt, and John can kiss this odd year syndrome goodbye. They carry the beer barrel off the field. Now, some big hands there.
6th straight year that Tennessee has won the beer barrel. Let's go down to Craig Sager.
Well, thank you, Bob. It wasn't easy pickings. It was Carl Pickens. 3 touchdowns going to the record book. You said you're glad it's over.
Yeah, I'm glad it's over. They kind of scared us at the beginning of the game, scoring 21 points in the first half. We had to go in at halftime and find out what we had to do to score some points.
What coach tell you at halftime?
Well, he told us either we get it in gear or our season be over with, and so we took it upon ourselves to do just that.
Here's the other part of that trio right here, that tandem. Andy Kelly, 5 touchdown passes. Excellent afternoon.
Well, it really was. Kentucky, we knew took a lot of chances. They blitzed a lot and left our guys one-on-one, and we just took advantage of it. The guys did a nice job of running the routes and running with it once they caught the short passes.
No running game in that first half at all. Why?
Well, I don't know. We had to find something out in the film work, but they came out and they got after us. They always do, and they always give us a tough game. But I'm glad we're able to come out and get some passing game going and open things up a little bit.
The Sugar Bowl, of course, is something you want to go after. It's very close within your grasp. But you're so close to an undefeated season. A play here and a play there, you would be.
Well, if you look back and you could look at a lot of games, a lot of plays here and there, and think if this or if that. But we can't worry about that right now. We're going to look at Vanderbilt, get ready for them. Another tough game because they always play us good, just like Kentucky does, and we know what's in the back of our minds, but we're looking forward to Vanderbilt right now.
What about that final scoring drive where you put the game out of reach? To Carl Pickens, to Carl Pickens, to Carl Pickens.
Well, we thought they were going to take a lot of chances and come after us, and they did. And when people do that, we like to use our little quick passing game, leave our guys one-on-one, and Carl did a great job of getting open and running with the ball once he caught it.
Well, you going to be up for Vanderbilt now?
Yeah, it's the next game on our schedule, and like Andy said, we're going to take them one game at a time, and hopefully we can come away with a win next week.
Well, thanks a lot. 3 touchdown passes. Andy Kelly to Carl Pickens. Andy Kelly, of course, with 5 overall. Back to you, Bob.